Futures back in positive territory this morning, coming off back-to-back steep declines for the overall market. All three U.S. indexes back in the red yesterday in a big way, I should say. We got through the 4,000 level on the S&P 500. Spent some time, in fact, below it yesterday, the low 39.75 and change. We are trading above it once again. We'll get Arun's take on what to expect for the overall market here. The broad market down 17% from its 52-week high now. That is the S&P 500. The NASDAQ obviously worse than that. The Dow down about 2% when all was said and done yesterday. It is now down 12% from its 52-week high. The NASDAQ 4.29% at the end of Monday's session. Continued fears over rising inflation, supply chain concerns as well. Another or more lockdowns, I should say, announced in China on Monday. Tech shares took the brunt of the selling yesterday, but are looking better this morning. So there is that. More earnings to get through this morning as well. AMC, Peloton, Upstart, wow, to the downside. Huge move on UPST. We'll talk about that and many more coming up. Tesla back under pressure as well. Heading back towards Monday's low at this point. Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Look at positive numbers for a change. Good to see the NASDAQ leading the way here. 1.5% back to the upside. We just cleared, in fact, 1% on the S&P 500 as well. The Dow about 0.75 right now. So a little bit of a bounce back here. Maybe some relief coming through after, as we said, a couple of back-to-back pretty solid red days for the overall market. Yeah, crude back to the downside. It's actually trying right now to get back towards positive territory. Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. I mean, huge moves on Monday to the downside, but 5% and 2%. Hey, we will take it at this point. What a week it's been. What a couple of weeks it's been. Good morning, guys. Here we go again. Back on the bounce side of the roller coaster, it would appear so far today, even with a couple of earnings that were pretty bad, to say the least.
Well, it depends on which one you're looking at. Pretty bad. There's Peloton, which we'll get to, which that's actually bouncing right now. And those are pretty bad. Upstart, on the other hand, is a totally different story. It's like the slowest moving train wreck that I've ever seen in the morning, down 57%. But we know this is what the earnings season is going to be. And if you think that we're done this, because like there's names that we won't even talk about today that reported poorly, like Lemonade. But Affirm comes, they'll be down this morning, Affirm, but Affirm reports later this week. And Upstart, 57% down on a bad guide. So we're still in that market, but it's a bit of a different story today because the market is bouncing today. Like we actually have the NASDAQ up 1.5% and showing some signs of strength. So there are names that are showing a lot of strength this morning. Some of the Chinese names looking pretty big. So it's still going to be a wild one. You have to open up your spreads a little bit, maybe some wider stops. Liquidity still, a little bit this morning. Like AMC, I was noting, was showing over 10-cent spreads at one point post-earnings. So a lot on the docket this morning. But again, that 9:30 window, I feel like it's going to be another wild 10 to 15 minutes, 5 minutes before the open, 10 minutes after the open when things try to settle.
Yeah, look, welcome. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, it should be. I didn't even get a coffee. I still have mine from the morning. Look, we're already in. Thanks to Rolling Records, man. It means a lot to me that you're loving the sticky note, calling it on point as usual. That means a lot because I spend a lot of time trying to get these to you. So, but right now we're short Peloton, and that's not working out. That's starting to go upside here. We're out of that. No, 50 cents right now, 60 cents as Peloton. Just getting a whole bunch of.
Oh, the dump.
It's a whole bunch of dark pool dumps happening right now, so our charts are going a little nuts here. But Peloton to the upside here. Yeah, bad report for them, man. And yeah, it just continues to be to the downside for a lot of these names. It's going to be a fun one. AMC is the #1 name on here today as well. We're 7 cents, a whopping 7 cents in the money on AMC. We'll watch that go today. I think that has a chance of mooning a little bit here on a pretty decent quarter. So we punch long here at 12.90, so we're into that one, 10 cents now. But yeah, Peloton, AMC, they're going to be rocking and rolling with these. I've got a lot on my watch, man. I've got Ford orders ready to go. I've got Palantir orders ready to go. Facebook and Microsoft. Yeah, this is going to be a great day. And it is a turnaround Tuesday kind of feel here, Brendo.
Like that. Yeah, let's see if we can't turn around a little bit. Yeah, decent report for AMC, and more positively, I think the talk that came along with it. You know, they were pointing to big movies that have already done very well this year. They were pointing to big movies that are still to come, getting more people back in the theaters, including Avatar, which I was disappointed to find out, guys, is not until December. I thought it was going to be like a summer blockbuster, but not going to get Avatar until December this year. Anyways, before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Happy Trading Tuesday to you all. I wish you a great, profitable day. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brendan.
Yep, lots to discuss. That's not the right one. That's the right one. There we go. Lots to discuss. Let's start on a positive note, shall we? Here is the headline for AMC, if we could. There we go. Yeah, CEO Adam Aron talking quite positively about what is to come later in the summer as far as movies are concerned, what has already happened this year as far as movies are concerned, including Marvel's latest movie last weekend that did really well for them. Just quickly wanted to mention this as well, just because we got the IPO of the spinoff last week. But this is the original, or what was left of the original, until they spun off Bausch & Lomb. So this is Bausch Health, another one getting absolutely destroyed, dual listed. You can trade it here in Toronto as well. But yeah, 36% for BHC, guys. But AMC trying to go higher.
Yeah, first of all, I don't understand how you can be disappointed that Avatar is going to be not till the end of the year. When you wait like 15 or 20 years or however.
Month.
Yeah, but we've been waiting decades for the movie.
I'm impatient, Neil.
Yeah, you're clearly very impatient, because what's a few extra months at this point? I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like we said, like some of the volumes on these, I was in this twice on AMC. There was the break at 13. It couldn't get past 13.50, and then stopped out in the dip buy. I'm gonna look, 12.50 is a great level for the stock. And yeah, Strange. I haven't seen Doctor Strange, or even Spider-Man. That's absurd for me. But I hear really good things about them. And the double bottom that got put in on AMC is a great base for what I think is a potential run today. It's just the volumes. It's just disappointing on a volume standpoint. So until we can see the volume start to come back in, it still sets up for, like, I mean, 13.50 could be a break. 12.50 is obvious support. I think that's going to be where it's bought into. This is one that I want to get in at that open. If it tries to flush at the open, sell the news, I think in front of 12.50 makes some sense. And the breakouts are still valid. Like, it still has a chance to do the 13.10 break, which it took once, or the 13.50 break. I'm not probably going to watch GameStop. Usually I will when AMC is moving, but when there's not a ton of volume, just stick to the one that gives it to you there, and that looks like AMC. There's plenty to be trading today. I'm already in like 5 things, including Netflix long, which it's been a long time since I've been able to say I like the long in Netflix.
Yeah.
For the day trade anyways, but
I like it.
Yet here we are, right?
Netflix PE down to 15. Okay, AMC, look, it's going to be a monster trade today, I feel like. Good quarter for them. Obviously, Adam Aron talking all about it. I mean, look, we talk about them taking crypto as payments. That seems to be working out. AMC today, again, up that 3.5%. Should be up more, I feel like. And once retail comes into this name at 9 o'clock, and then again, once the open happens, I believe it goes up. There wasn't really anything of concern for me when I was reading through all the numbers there. We talked about all the big movies that were coming through. I think the summer months are what it's all about. We've been to the movies a couple times now, you know, with my family, and it's been a great time. So I feel like, you know, they're going to be popular again as more and more people start to come out of their caves and start to visit theaters and do stuff. So I like AMC here, considering how a lot of these names, I mean, Upstart was $350, and now you're down to $35. So it's like AMC's actually not even that bad. If you take the high of $65, $70, even for it to be down here to 13 is actually holding up pretty good. Obviously, we're long AMC right now. It's the #1 name on the sticky note. We're going to try to support this 1250 bottom here, and I have no intentions of getting out unless this thing absolutely craters to the downside. So just like I'm averaged in here to Peloton, I'm doing the same thing with AMC. I'll be averaged in all the way down to 1250. If 1250 breaks, then we'll look lower. I don't even think we'll get out at that point, but I like it. It's definitely, Brendan, it's created these nice bottoms here yesterday, bounced off early at 1260, bounced off late off 1250. So yeah, I mean, why can't we get to I mean, even 1360 is a move upside. We'll get to that 10% or so. So if you can get up into here, 1360, 1370, in this area right there, I like it. And then if you can break through 14, then you'll probably see 1450 and so on and so forth. And we'll let the apes take control of this name. So, hey, look. Whether or not you're a supporter of AMC or not, I feel like it has momentum here. Considering what some of the other earnings have been through, we've seen Palantir, you saw Peloton today, some of these other names just getting clocked. I mean, even a stock like Lulu's down 150 points, Nike's down. High quality names are getting killed. So why not play with one that has a chance to moon? So, AMC here today should be fun. I'm going to be all over it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what mooning means anymore with a lot of these stocks. It seems like a lot of stocks moon to the downside. So what is that, cratering?
It's literally cratering.
Yeah, so let's see if we can get a little bit of a different move here on AMC today. And look, the money's got to go somewhere. Maybe people put their money back into AMC theaters.
Going to be interesting. Volume a little bit light in the pre-market, but we'll see what happens for AMC. Let's talk EV space because there's a few stories of note so far. The first one, I don't think I pulled up. No, I didn't pull up. Cation Auto, KXIN out of China. They got a 10,000 unit order for electric trucks. There's this one, HYZN, a little one, Hyzon Motors on the diesel fuel. So they're going to be able to apparently convert diesel trucks to hydrogen fuel trucks going forward. This was aftermarket yesterday. We talked about Rivian all day yesterday. Bloomberg reporting the Saudi interest in Rivian came out after the close yesterday and said they have no intentions of selling, even if Ford and Amazon are doing so. And Lucid, one more to go as well. Lucid announcing they're going to expand into Europe as well. So lots of news in the EV space today.
Yeah, that's a lot, obviously, and I'll add one to that. It's not news, but it's don't forget NIO at 13, that monster bottom. It has not broken that 52-week low. It's one of the few things that's sort of holding up there, and that's a big one. Look, Cation's, it's gone up and come already back. But the only thing I'm interested in Cation is exactly $1. Right, closed at 95 cents. It got up to 135 and then came all the way back into 109. Sometimes you get a little bit of a dip by opportunity at $1 or when it takes out $1. So that's the level worth watching. I think that sort of stands out there. I'm already in Rivian. It tried to break that 23 before. And we saw all afternoon, it finally got through 23 and got to 22.5. 23.50 to 60 is the resistance on that one. And I'm interested at least a little bit in Lucid. If we talk about sort of names that have a chance to break back out. The issue with Rivian for liking the long is you still have that backed up sell volume, which could potentially be coming into it. Did it all get dumped yesterday? Who knows? Is there any more that could come through? That's always going to be a little bit of the case. Lucid put in a wipeout bottom, is consolidating here, and you've got this maybe 1685 to 17 area that it could get back above. And when you have a day like yesterday, one of the first things that comes into mind is even a small relief rally for some of the names that move the most to the downside can give you some pretty solid gains. And you have some room to 1750 here. I think Lucid could be one to maybe consolidate and go. I had Tesla up, but I don't know, that 800, it just feels like it's too choppy on 800. It's either give me 760 to 780 or it's got to bust back up through like 810, 815 or so. But Lucid is on the radar for a long. Still going to go Rivian short till it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even pay for shorts yet for Rivian, but I mean, yesterday was a monster move downside. We destroyed this stock, shorting this 25.50. Today you're back down to 23. That's the bottom there from yesterday. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see if the market wants to get going here today. You're up that 2%. But yeah, I mean, if you can get Rivian back into any of those levels here, 24, 25, something like that, then to me that's going to be a short. It's going to have to rip first before I would short it. But up here, 25, 25.50, I like that play, and I think it has a chance to get going a little bit before eventually stalling out. I mean, the Saudis came in and they said they're not selling like they said that on Lucid, but that didn't seem to matter. And I know Neil just talked about all that, so that's something there. Fisker at $10 as well is another look that you could have. I mean, it's lower than that. Just talking about if the market does rip up, you could short in front of $10 on Fisker as well as the 20-minute rate here. There's $10. We started there yesterday, made the move all the way down to 930, so you'd have to take that out before you get to the high side. So there is some opportunity here in some of the electric vehicle space. I didn't even realize that NIO was down there. But yeah, 13 obviously a level to respect as well. Some of the Chinese names going to this morning, NIO up 2.7%, and then Alibaba I noticed as well excuse me, was up over, yeah, there it is still. So still climbing now, up that 3% here now and making new highs. So as I came in, I saw this name at 86, 87, up 3%. Now you're up 3 1/3. So Alibaba and some of these Chinese names continue to work as well. So yeah, look, EV spaces are going to be hot for a bit, but they're still not making money. I think they're fades anytime they pop, and I'm going to go get short shares for Rivian.
Mentioned the Chinese stocks, guys, back in positive territory a couple days in a row now, but I mean, yesterday got faded significantly, but might just be a bounce. We're talking about oil a little bit today. We saw a huge reversal yesterday from positive to negative, all the way down to 102, 101 and a half, depending on where you looked at it after market. We bounced off 101 a couple of times this morning, trying to work back to the upside again, but basically flat today. Some of the stocks relatively flat today. After huge moves, though, if we do start to slide in the overall market with crude going back to the downside, might be worth a look for oil stocks again.
Yeah, I'm still looking primarily at Oxy. There was obviously a lot of other fish to fry at the open, whether it was, Lucid, Nvidia, Microsoft, or not Lucid, Rivian, Microsoft, Nvidia. So many names that were moving around, and it was pretty hard. Why am I missing data on this chart? It's so annoying. But it was pretty hard to catch that at the open when it just absolutely fell like a rock. You wanted to pop in to see if it could take out like 64 or something like that back into that high on the daily, and it never happened. It's been relatively weak for a while. It just got into a firm. Was determined on the upstart news not to miss out on a firm, even though it hasn't done volume. Related space, not exactly the same company, but a related space in lending. So they're under pressure as well. But Oxy, if it gets back to this 60 to 65 level, I think that's sort of the obvious line. You look at previous support. The day it tried to make that break, where we just we're just back and forth off 63, 64, and it tried to make that breakout, it failed to 60 and a half. And then yesterday in the afternoon, it failed at 60 and a half in the other direction. So that's going to be that line where if we can get a pop into 60 and a half, I'd be playing on the short side of Oxy into that price. Just since we've rejected that high on the daily, I feel the momentum's coming back in. It is riding the 50 period, but if you kind of look at what it's done every time, recently when it bounced off there, it kind of glided off that level. So each one of these bounces was pretty shallow until it finally broke back out. That's what I kind of would expect to see. Just go with the patterns that are already established. And that to me means, sort of fade off that 60-50. Don't expect more than the 50 period on any kind of a bounce in Oxy.
All right. Yeah, I was talking about, I got into we keep talking about ZEO and XLE. I just think that I don't really trade oil stocks, so I'm not going to talk about trading them too much. But, I think as an investment, you want to try to get into some of these. Even the OIH here, oil holders ETF, there it is right there, was down a little bit there yesterday as well. OIH, it looks like it's going to open up down today. But, you've seen some of these plays come back in right now, and I just feel like there's some value here to be had, especially if we think the energy story is not finished yet. It doesn't seem like it is anywhere around here. But even Valero, I've talked about that stock and how it was just on absolute fire to the upside here, up to 130, now coming back into 120 again. So I still think there's room to come down, but I'm looking at some of these names here. Valero's one of them. XLE is another one that I just want to get into. I'm already into XOM, so that's had a nice little top as well, near $90, and now it's coming back in a little bit. So yeah, there's that 92 top, and then a big move down. So as a lot of these tech names, and as basically every asset class, Bitcoin's down 20% in 2 days. As a lot of these classes come back in now, you're going to get some names that I believe are getting pulled back that shouldn't be. And I think oil is one of those names, and energy stocks in general. So I'm trying to get long all these names, but a little bit more here. I don't think the market's done yet coming in. So, hey, let's see if oil can hold 100. Right now you're bouncing around 103 down here. So it's just flat on the day. So we're going to watch oil today. And I don't use it too much on my daily trading, but I do like them for longer term. They're a lot thinner, a lot leaner companies right now, and starting to make that cash. So I'm not too worried about drawdowns or anything for these businesses. So I want to get long the ETFs as much as I can.
All right. One more name of note here, guys, that did report aftermarket yesterday. Some positive movement for Clover Health. Interesting. Up about 15%. I just checked. Over here, there's a number of upgrades and price target increases from analysts on this. You'll be shocked if you haven't looked at this chart for a while as to where it's trading right now, but not a bad report actually for Clover, guys.
Yeah, it's volume. It's disappointing volume. Otherwise, I think we'd be looking at it. But if it gets to $3, $2.95, $3, I think it's a little bit more interesting for a potential break. It's sort of gliding down on low volume. There is a name that is booming up here. I know it's on the watch list. Vroom's on the list, but it just broke that first big test it had at 165. I was short in front of it. I put in the chat, this has a 30% short interest, at least last I checked. So yes, it can go. Yes, it is a heavily depressed name that's come from, I can zoom back further and you can see where the stock has come from. But we usually get the idea. When it gets to 180, that's another level. $2, obviously pretty psychological. It's booming in volume, 10 million shares plus in volume, expected to be amongst the leaders here today. Just be very, very careful. Always have a stop when shorting something like this because with that big short interest, given how big of a wipeout it made at 1, if you look at this at the end of the day yesterday, like it just absolutely wiped out through $1 and then slammed back, and you get the gap up here. That's probably trapped some people short the bottom if I had to guess, but watch out for this Vroom. It is booming.
I like that one. Okay, so just a little update here because we did get out of some of our Peloton there and just got back in again. So there's Peloton. We're still, we've taken some, well, we've taken some hits because we're not getting out for better prices here. But right now we'll average into that trade up to 20 again. We just took a bid out there at 10s, then we took another one there at VWAP when it came back into 80 there. So, our average price when we took this 80 was 97, just like it is now, but now we've averaged up into this trade. I still like Peloton here, but you got to watch out for this 12 level. It may come into play right now as, markets are starting to boom upside. Some of these beat down names, Peloton's down that 20%. Could start to go for a jog up here. That's why you got to lighten up a little bit when it comes back in. Yesterday we saw Rivian. Neil talked about that off the open. A lot of traders got blown out. They shouldn't have been because they were overcapitalized. So you do not want to get into too many shares here. If I'm going to write down on the sticky note, which I've already done that today here, that the levels, and again, thanks to Rolling Records and everybody else who has supported the sticky note, right? So right now, over 56 likes, 18 retweets. Thank you so much for that. But here's Peloton. Horrid quarter. They missed everywhere and lower demand. Yuck, right? We're already short here in the pre-market, but we want to wait until that break of 1250 to make sure that we're wrong. So, if we're going to wait for 1250 to come through, and I'll put this in the chat right now, then you got to be very, very careful with it, right? So we're going to watch out for Peloton upside. Just like yesterday, we had Rivian written down and we had the 25 level. It went to 25.50 or so. So sometimes you got to get squeezed before they're good. And then Rivian, let's just look at this quickly here as we're going to go to upgrades and downgrades in a minute. One of my favorites, upgrades and downgrades, actually. I think that's my favorite segment, even though it's not super long. But this is what happened here yesterday. Look at this squeeze off the open, right? So we were cruising. I was averaged in here because we're like, hey, this is the top, 24. No, it's not. It ripped up here, looked at these 26 pre-market highs, and then fell basically the rest of the day. Sure, it bounced a little bit there, back to 25 and back tested. That's exactly what we want to have happen every single time. We would like a back test to give us that fill again. And then you can see Rivian ended 20. I didn't even realize how low this got yesterday. I thought we only went to 23, but 22.50 there as the low for Rivian. So here comes Peloton right back in. Very, very similar chart. Look, we're starting to rip again. We're starting to test some of these highs. So you got to be careful. That high is 13 there. I'm just talking about 1250 in here, thinking that we weren't going to get back to 13. So, hey, you got to be very, very careful with this name. Don't get yourself, I'm already in a spicy position right now as this is starting to go back to the upside. So, yeah, it's time to average in a little bit, but do not get blown out. Attention, everyone behind us, because you want to make sure that you have enough skin in the game if and when this thing falls. That's part of it. But this is pre-market trading. The liquidity on this is great, though. But big orders will affect this. We have the imbalances coming out for the NASDAQ. So be very, very careful with your Peloton trades as I say that I'm about to average in.
Yeah, remember what happened yesterday with the imbalances on Rivian, guys, to the upside. Here we go. Nothing overly exciting. We talked about Duke Energy to the upside yesterday. Another price target increase and upgrade from Wells Fargo. There's the two big ones today, Upstart and Affirm. Affirm getting destroyed on Upstart, getting destroyed. Palantir to the downside as well. Citigroup, talked about it yesterday as well, Microchip in the semi group, guys.
So we'll get to Upstart in a second or maybe a few minutes, but I just got into Affirm. It's only down 11%. I say only because Upstart's down 5 times that. However, when we get to the Upstart chart, there's one thing about that stock. It had kind of not died or capitulated as much as some of these other names. That's part of the reason why you're seeing it down so much. But Affirm through this $20 mark, and that's obviously a level that if I could have shorted it through 20, I would have done it. But if it's going to consolidate down here, first look will be through 19 and then through 20. They report Thursday. I think aftermarket on Thursday, so they haven't dodged the gauntlet just yet. But this market's trying to break out here. The NASDAQ just broke these highs, and all I got is Netflix here. Probably should have had a look at NVIDIA. I was kind of hoping to wait till the open on some of these breaks, but NVIDIA just broke 174 up to 175. Netflix is starting to work, but it's the shorts that are now going to be in trouble because these are bottoms, right? You're short off of the lows.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here's 1250. It's coming in pretty quick. The one thing that's not moving, though, is Upstart. I don't understand how when down this much, if this isn't going to go, I don't think, it's crazy. Like Peloton, you're going to tell me you're going to bounce $2.50 off 10 that it broke earlier this morning, but Upstart down 57% can't move more than $2 off 30. So interesting here, you're squeezing on Peloton, but nothing like that yet on Upstart, which I'm looking to try to fade. I would like to short a pop there like we're doing in Peloton, but we're not even getting one into 35, 36 on Upstart.
Yeah, we just resisted that 50, but still, guys, this has been horrible. And that's what, remember yesterday I was like, yeah, Greg was like, oh, you do so well in the pre-market. But yeah, no. And this is what happens because when it starts to rip against you, you have nothing but averaging in all the time. And then eventually it goes up and then that's finished. So you got to, or hopefully down now. But there's the average in there at 50. Let's see what happens. That's exactly where it stopped. So, the same story is true for me, man. Every freaking day this happens where I've got the right prices, but we get a little too excited here in the pre-market. So yeah, here goes Peloton, right back up to 1250. It's not a great way to start the day here. Looks like I said, like Rivian, except for this is starting even earlier than Rivian did. So be very, very careful, man. This looks like it's going to break 1250. I did put an order to get out on a 12 break, but it missed. It ripped. I tried to buy 1210s there. Couldn't even get it. So a 1201 break there, 1202 break, didn't even get filled at 1210. So that's how far up this thing ripped. We were trying to get out so we could average more in here. So yeah, I don't know. If this comes back in, I think it's probably, I'll take a little bit out here we didn't want that to rip up against us like that. So there it is, man. We tried to get out at 12. It ripped too fast. Peloton right now, we need some news to come out here that supports this short. So right now it's not looking good. Peloton up to that 1250. Watch out here. That's the level we called. We should have been more patient, but we're not. Peloton in big trouble here.
Yeah, I was just double checking, guys. The earnings call, they reported this morning, remember? So the earnings call started at 8:30. So it could still be going on. So just be careful with Peloton. NVAX, another one that is a crazy mover, as we know. NVAX, yeah, 25%. Not a lot of volume here either on this one in the pre-market, but to say the least, earnings not good for Novavax.
So it's going to be a broken record, but another stock stopped gapping through lows. NVAX, the low is 42, which is, hey, that's my lucky number. But 42 just got broken on a gap down, and there's really almost no chance to take it. There was a roll. You could have had it at $8.15 at $41, but there's your 42 level. That's your previous low from just recently, just a week and a half ago, and now you're in all-time lows through that $40. Most of these, it's until you break back out, I'm just going to sit telling it's a short. Above the 42 level is where this thing could get back to the upside. I understand, they have some. Look, they do have the opportunity that some of the emerging markets could put some of those orders in, and they can get some revenues to get growth back going. But ultimately, when the momentum is going in one direction, I think you have to sort of stick with that. And below these massive levels that we keep seeing on the daily chart, it's like these things are just shorts when they're below there. So if we're below 40, if we're below 42, then I want to be fading in Novavax. It gets back above there, yeah, you have a huge gap that can be filled, but I feel like that's a story for another quarter. I don't believe there's a gigantic short interest on this name either. There was a big deal in Pharmaland, but it was Pfizer was making a pickup. It doesn't seem like it's affecting these guys at all. Just a rough go for some of these earnings, but squeezes can happen. You're seeing it happen in Peloton. It probably would have happened in Rivian yesterday if the market wasn't so weak at the open.
Yeah,
it would have been a bigger squeeze.
It would have, yeah.
And I think that's part of why Peloton's going the way that it is. It's because the market's up 2.25%, right? So it's a much different story than what we had the last couple of sessions. You're able to scalp some in there, but once it broke through 11, see how it extends and now you're up to that 1250 area, so you have to sit some of this out till it gets up there. But this market is much, much stronger, which supports some of these names squeezing to the upside. Like, all I have is to long is Netflix. I should really be in NVIDIA especially.
Turnaround Tuesday, baby. We just got some out there on Peloton as it broke through 1250. Yeah, shout out to Christian, who was here the other day. And there's the mug all signed up there. He's trading with us with his Trader TV Live team. So shout out to Christian there, who came through and rang the bell for us the other day. And there's a nice little souvenir. So thanks, Christian, for coming through and for posting that and for getting locked and loaded. Hope you're not short Peloton. Or if you are, hopefully you didn't get taken out a little bit there like I did on that 1250 break. But that's fine. That was part of the plan there, was to take some out. I mean, like I said, I can't just sit here and be, let this run me over like it was doing. So we'll take some pressure off the old net there, and hopefully it falls back down now. There's that 1250. Like, again, if we waited for that, we'd be short there, but we're not. So that's my bet on there for that. But there's lots of fish to fry here today. Look at the AMC long, man. At least this one's 25 cents in the money right now. We bought that early. We're trying to get, I was waiting for 25, not 20. So it went up to 18. We'll wait in here, see if we get some 25s. But that's that trade for AMC right now. Look at this, trying to go long here on AMC. So hopefully that one's going to work out. Here comes back down right now. Peloton, the spread is quite large here. So let's see if it can fall back below this 12 bucks, and then we can start to take a little bit of profit. Average price now $11.67 after just getting taken some out there at $12.50. So be careful here with Peloton. It's bouncing around again as we go, guys.
That was a pretty cool setup on the laptop there with the triple monitors on the laptop. That was kind of cool. Let's get a look at the overall market here. Brought to you by, once again, the Small Exchange, guys. Check out thesmallexchange.com. They're making it so much easier to access futures trading with very simple small contracts. There's no PDT rule. There's less capital required. Sign up today at thesmallexchange.com. You can check out the QR code there on the screen. Let's go to Arun. We talked about the importance of 4,000 yesterday about this time, Arun. Here we are back above once again.
Came, it went, and now here we are off the bounce, back to the upside. The market's giving you some levels to work with. It wants to bounce back around. Now 2% is not that big of a deal. We're up to 2.4 on the NASDAQ. Yesterday we were down like 3 or 4, 3 something, maybe 4 something. I don't even know. I stopped keeping track as we were falling. Anyways, today we've got some levels we can work with. Same levels on the top end from yesterday. It's still that 41.15 area. So if we can get into the 70s, same read as yesterday. If we can get into the 70s, start working some shorts. When I mean working some shorts, given the strength that we have, we do have to let this one kind of taper off a little bit before looking for a short. But the areas there that you can potentially work with on the short side. So 41.70 going all the way up to 42.15 opens the door for potential shorts as long as you can get the right read up there. Makes sense from the risk profile, because the downside support, there really isn't anything anymore. Someone was asking me this yesterday, actually, from the floor. Does 4,200 matter anymore? Well, the first time it did, not so much the second time, and now the level's gone. Psychologically, or not 4,200, 4,000. Psychologically, it matters the first time around, but when we've gone back and forth a few times, not so much anymore. So now the new level is going to be 40.60, which is pretty much the low that we put in overnight. So 40.60 going through the bottom is going to be your support base. Anything south of 4,000 allows you to pick up some longs if you can get the setup. Again, this market is moving in such a way where you can't just step into a trade. There's no real setup or ready-made trade where you can just put an offer or a bid and just jump on board. At this point, you are going to have to wait for either the market to slow down up top, or it's going to have to fall about 50 points and then slow down once more to catch a bid. So we are sitting in a wide range, 41.15 up top for 39.60 down below, waiting for a setup on either side. Everything in between I would avoid, just because it gets really, really messy. There's a ton of volume in wide ranges. So I would just stick to the edges. If we can't get a trade off the edge, then I guess we're just going to be quiet today. But for the most part, I would just work with those two levels on the top and the bottom.
It'll be interesting to see if we can continue now 1.5% to the upside for the S&P. Let's get into what else you need to know this morning. That's the link to the watch list. We send it out every single day, guys, absolutely free. All you need is your email address. Miss V is waiting in the chat. She can grab that link for you if you ask really nicely. Upstart, first one on the list here. I was just watching this Novavax trying to bounce as well, but let's go to Upstart this morning, guys. Yeah, pretty ugly to say the least. It was 58% at the bottom there, but wow, what a move.
it'll leave you speechless when you see over 50% to the downside. But what I was sort of saying before is it hadn't really died. Like if you look at this thing at $70 and just how it had held the last couple of weeks here, so going into earnings, it kind of felt like it wasn't selling off as much as some contemporary names there. And wow, I mean, I would love to be able to say that I'm in this one and not Peloton. Or even Rivian, which is trying to get through that 2360 level. I'm going to stop out Rivian at 2360 because remember yesterday, 24, 25, 26, the evens were easily better levels. But Upstart, I keep waiting for a real pop. Like I almost want this to squeeze up for a chance to get into the short side of the trade. It's just like I just don't see how you can like the long when they have that guide, because the other end of this coin is talk about the R word, man. Like, what does Upstart look like? You're in AI lending how good's the AI lending program, and you're talking about potentially going into a recession. That's just another thing which is a possible headwind for a name like Upstart, and also for a firm, which I think is going to be in some trouble reporting this week. But it's 35, 36 that I was looking for the short. If that broke, it's 40 to 42. Those are the two channels I like. And neither one of them looks like they're going to come into play, and like barring some kind of dead cat bounce here in Upstart.
It's nice that Peloton came back in. It's too bad that we got stopped out a little bit there. We reloaded a little bit, but Peloton back down to 1160 right now and looking like it wants to come in. So, that's what I mean about not putting on too many shares so that you get completely stopped out when a move happens like that. But there's Peloton right up to that 1250. I mean, we hammered that, we nailed the price, and we just had a poor execution on Peloton today for that. I haven't really looked at Upstart. I'll look at it once it starts to rock. But right here, AMC, just debating right now. It's up to 1320. That's a good print for us. I feel like this name still has a chance to go upside even more than what we're in right now. We're only in the money 25 cents. So obviously there's that potential. Here's the imbalance locator we haven't looked at yet, and I haven't looked at it either. So I was seeing if AMC was on here. It's not. Just looks like CCL, Ford, which we like as well. Ford for a nice little move today, hopefully back through. I think it was 1380, or what did I write down there? Ford, yeah, 1380 on Ford. So that's a level that I like. Ooh, it's starting to come in right now, maybe right there. And 1380 is right here on Ford. So that high, I guess it was the high yesterday. Yeah, I guess before. Well, I guess we started up around 14 before breaking it, but it's right into there that we tested that 1380. So I like Ford if we can break through that right now. So that's another name that again is on the sticky note. Palantir, Microsoft, Facebook, not Apple today. AMC, Peloton, Facebook. Yeah, there it is, up another 2.5%. That's why we're in a little bit, buying a little bit yesterday. Not going to buy today. You don't buy stock when the market's up like this, 2.5%. But hey, it's a turnaround Tuesday. Most of the panic in this market has been to the buy side, not to the sell side. Like when the market sells off, it just kind of like drips down. Like, yesterday we were 1.5%, then about a half hour later you're 2%, and then so on and so forth. And then it just kind of drips all the way before closing, at horrible lows. And then today you're getting a nice little rebound rally here in the NASDAQ. And it feels like when people feel like they missed the bottom, they buy everything all the way to the upside. So I don't think anyone missed the bottom in this market, but hey, it's a nice little rally back. You need to have these kind of days. And I think it's worth trading to the long side. We just hopefully some names will fall in off the open. We have a bunch of them listed here. I like Facebook. I like Softy.
Yeah, it's a great point. Relentless selling yesterday, but it was such a grind all day long to the downside. Let's go to AMC. Next on the list here, decent report, smaller than expected loss. Guys, narrowed loss on AMC. Revenue actually beat expectations, and as we said, pointed to a whole bunch of blockbusters to come throughout the remainder of the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, bigger blockbusters than already came out. I'm a little skeptical that you're going to get anything better than Spider-Man, Batman coming through. But when you beat on revenues for them, and given the ride that it's been to the downside, like Sean said, like you have a little bit of a bottom, and a good bottom got put in at 1250. You can't really ignore it on the higher time frame. Now it's set up for like a shallow break inside the range. That was 1310. It couldn't get through 1350. Reload took out support. I love that 1250 area. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on a dip buy, but it's either that or the pre-market lows as we come back in. One thing this week is already teaching me is like if you like a price, you're probably going to be able to get a chance to get it at the open. So I'll look first off the pre-market lows and then down toward that 1250, which if you're simply looking at the 15-minute chart, that's the wipeout bottom. Like it's a wick off bottom right at the end of the day yesterday through that 1250 mark, and then an immediate recovery on earnings, a higher low. That sets it up pretty well from a technical standpoint. So I like the AMC long. I'm going to look to get back into it a little bit closer to the open, which is still 20 minutes away. It just feels like we've had a ton of activity. Well, we have had a ton of activity, but it feels like we should be at the open in like 5 minutes, but we still got some time.
Yeah, there's still lots of time here. But look, I mean, here's AMC. We just took a little piece out there at 15 as well. So, yeah, all right. Let's just watch this thing rally here, hopefully today. It's up that 5%, probably should be up more, I think. It was a good quarter compared to what a lot of these other names have been doing lately. I mean, every single name that we have on our watch list seems to be down like 20 or 30% off their reports, regardless of really what they report. So, although Clover's upside, so I guess that name's not one of those. But AMC's been beat down the last couple of days. I feel like, coming into the earnings, the fear was that it would just be like every other name, especially names that have rallied, like meme names have been getting killed. But AMC, a real business, with real money coming in. And yeah, I think the rally could be on today. We need to get above, obviously, this 1350. Let's try to clear what we had yesterday as some highs. That's 1350. So that's sort of the target that I have on this trade. We're long 1290 down here. And I kind of have a target around like these levels that we're already seeing today. So 1340, 1350. Once we take that out, then we'll see where we rock with. So those are my levels. We're going to wait for them to come through. Hopefully they do. And then we got to be patient. Like Neil said, you get the levels you wait for sometimes if you're right. And let's just wait to see if we are on this one. So next offer, 1340, which would be nice, man. We'll take 50 cents on 12 bucks. That's good for me for right now. And then we'll hold a little bit, probably hold the 20% or so to see if it does get higher. But AMC does have that opportunity to go today. Just got to get through here. And I really think if you take 1350, then you probably see this level, the day high from before, the day before, for Friday, 1450. So let's wait to see. I mean, I don't own any AMC shares besides what I do on the show. So you're going to see everything here. This is not like a pump and dump situation. I'm trading it. You're going to see me actively in this name today. I like AMC, but the volume's a little disappointing. Only still sub-million shares on earnings day. Like, in the past, this has been 20 million by now. So, yeah. And then we do have the imbalance locator, which doesn't even have, well, there it is. AMC's on there right now. Maybe it was on there before. But just 100, there it is right there, guys. 168,000 shares to buy with a very, very small pair off. So, yeah, not much happening right now for AMC. What's up, Miss V?
Hey guys, 5,000 people are watching us right now, and I remind you to like this video. Let's be consistent and get that 1,000 likes before the bow. Brandon?
All right, let's continue along here. Peloton to the downside in a big way as well. I mean, the only thing that really you need to know this morning, it was a loss of $757.1 million or $2.27 per share compared to $8.6 million or 3 cents per share same period last year. Obviously, things have changed in the entire world. A lot of people going back to the gym, clearly. So Peloton continues to slide.
Okay, let's get the fundamentals out of the way. I don't know that there's a case for Peloton at this point, unless it's if there was a rumor about them potentially getting bought at like 30 or 40, or when it was at 30 bucks. Then if anybody liked it then how could they not be involved now? If there's not in the next week or two somebody citing interest in putting money or investing in this company or actually buying them, then we know for sure that previous rumor was an absolute lie. It's just that simple. Now, all that being said, there is still the potential. I think the upside here is squeezes or that someone does step in, either make a heavy investment or pick them up altogether. So that's going to linger from the long term. For the short term, I want to show how the difference between Rivian yesterday and Peloton today, the move up, for me is one move. It's one move, and it's this one right here. Shorting off of the 11, it gave you the pullback right here beneath that 11 mark, and then it started going again. Now, when you're in the midst of a squeeze, when it had a wipeout bottom, this is the key, wipeout bottom through 10, when it goes up like this, can't take this entry at 1150. You can't do it. You just can't do it. Like, it's shown you where it doesn't want to fill you anything worse than. So if you had an average of 11 here and it's giving you just below that, you take that profit. Do not get back in at 1150. You've got to wait for the higher curl. Because now, in order to get green, you need it to come back, down below that 11 area. If you do not take these, allow the next level for the short, well, it could go down to 11, 1120. Never actually break, and you're absolutely fine. But in this case, just a little too greedy, and maybe it's just after Rivian, it was one of those, just be patient, wait for it, and then sometimes felt like I was too patient at the top, but still have to sit through the open. Like, as much as we've already squeezed on Peloton, it's in a stronger market. And at 9:30, you can do exactly the same thing. There could be a bunch of shorts that want to come in and cover, and you can get another retest of those highs. So, by this point, when we were already making that big of a move, it was like 9:30 on Rivian yesterday. And we're just 15 minutes away from the open as the market is showing some strong signs, up 2.5%. The good news is it hasn't broken back toward these highs from when the report dropped earlier today. But, if the market screams enough, it'll rise all ships. And that's just the rising tide is going to hit absolutely everywhere. And even a name like Peloton will go up. Upstart, I don't know what's keeping it from bouncing, but I still like that 36.
Yeah, okay, I was just clearing out my spam here. Okay, so, yeah. Oh, I was looking at Microsoft, actually. We put on our sticky note 270, 25. Obviously, that was taken out already as we rip up to 272 right now on Microsoft. That stock is gone, but I really like this level right here, 269. So if we do fall off a little bit here off the open, I mean, it's been a monster rally. I feel like we could come back in a little bit here, 269 or so. We're sitting now with shares on Microsoft. Peloton, yeah. I mean, we just should have waited. I mean, I feel the same about Peloton like we did Rivian yesterday on some of these moves. 16% is probably enough to the downside, but hey, I mean, we're going to be short this name until we take out 13 now, I guess, is the level that we're going to have to play with. We pegged 1250 perfectly on this sticky note. If we had just traded it better, which we didn't, then we'd be short 1250 and we wouldn't have had to get taken out there for a little bit, but we did get back in. It's obviously a losing stock, but hopefully it can fall back in here off the open, test 11, even get some out here at 1150 if we can on Peloton, and then start to test lower and see what happens when we get to 1060 or so. I don't think we get down to 10. I mean, some of these things are flushed out there on such that bad quarter, looking for finance, looking for all this stuff. So Peloton, yeah, it's going to have to get one swoop down here for me to make a little bit of money and make some back. So if we can get out around 11, I think that's pretty good. We will be sitting here 11, 11, 10, and then just if it goes sour, we have 13 as the top. I mean, that top was already 1270. So, I mean, if you can get out at the pre-market high, if you want to right there, 1270, that's fine. I'm going to give it to 13, give it an even dollar, and then see what happens. So Peloton right now could be an absolute disaster for me if it starts to go up because, we shorted it. We didn't believe in the name. But I still think there's some pressure to the downside. The NASDAQ's coming out at 925. So, that shot Rivian upside yesterday like crazy on that buy that came in at 925. So let's see what happens today. Maybe Peloton comes out a bid and then this thing screams to 1270 anyways. So here it comes. Nice size on the offer. Hopefully we drip down. We'll get some out in the 50s. Then we'll get some out at 11. Then maybe we'll see even lower than that. But not traded well by me today. The levels were absolutely dead on perfect. But again, once our levels are so good, we had to get out when they broke. So it came back in. We re-engaged it a little bit there at 1230, but still a losing stock for me. I like Peloton to the downside. AMC's right back to 15 where we got a piece out. Again, we're waiting up here for 1350 or so on AMC to get out of this trade.
Let's go back to EV land here real quick. Good look for Tesla this morning, 3.5% back above 800. Notably weak yesterday. We get the bounce today with the overall market, obviously. Shanghai going to make 200 cars only on Tuesday. They also said they might have to shut down entirely once again after they just reopened a week ago. This is not COVID related. It's supply chain related, so they can't get enough semiconductor. It's the same old story as always, but more production headaches, I guess, for Tesla, but nice bounce here.
It is a nice bounce. I'm looking at so many of these names, and I guess we'll get to big tech at the end there, but Tesla, I didn't like the long, at least in the pre-market on this, and I haven't pretty much ever before 9 o'clock. It's been a while, but the way that it sold off, and I think if you're watching the afternoon show, which if you missed yesterday's show in the afternoon, ooh man, like it was exciting. You got to watch out for these. It's been fantastic trading opportunities there, but there were wipeout bottoms to be had across the board. You get these wick-offs right at the close. You're breaking towards those lows. You got right down to 780. You're now gapping back up to the previous support at like 795. The 795 area, like that was a low before things fell apart really, really late in the day. So I tend to think that's where the floor needs to hold first. And that's where I wanted to be buying a dip in Tesla if I was paying something. It's just a matter of getting it at 810, 815. It just felt a little bit high to me when I knew where the support was. And the way the open is traded, I feel like if you like a price, I said it already once, you can get it again. I feel the same way about NEO, which is also already broken out. So that's a bit frustrating because it put in a similar type bottom in front of 13.30, but its low for this year is $13 even. So I like to try to buy the dip there. It's not really a breakout on NEO till it gets through 14.50. So there's a huge channel to work with to the longs. But those are two that I do like in the EV space if we can get them. I took out Rivian because I'm not going to sit here in like every single short that runs against me. I feel like if you like the shorts and you can get your prices, just jump back into these things closer to the open when the ranges will settle down. But I like NEO in front of 13 for the long. I like Tesla in front of 795. You just can't let those floors from the last few weeks, you can't let those break. We've seen what happens when they break to the downside. So as long as you have your stop, it does feel like the market wants to be upside here today, which, hey, man, the best rallying days come in bear markets. Not the best prolonged rallies, but the best rallying days all come in bear markets.
Hey, what's up, Ron Williams? Yeah, I'm not going to forget about Facebook. We absolutely murdered Facebook yesterday. It was a great stock for us. All big cap tech. I mean, we've been trading them so well lately there. I like this 201 break here for Facebook. Yesterday the high really was 201.60, but if Facebook can get going, man, I really, really like this one breaking back upside through 201, especially, some of these bottoms there yesterday on Facebook, I think, we're not going to see 190. Well, we could see 196 today. We're only at 199, so a little bit of a dip down here for Facebook in the afternoon. That's that move down that we just talked about there a little bit with whatever we were talking about, Rivian, I think it was, make that move down to 22.50. But Facebook, the same type of thing, 195 held. Let's call it 196. So if Facebook does come back in, I think a start to build at about 197.50 makes a lot of sense. So if we get a swoop down in Facebook, that's a name that I'm going to like here. They may sell this market into the open here. And what I mean by that, well, once it's open, is just you may get a move back down in. You're up 2.5%. I don't think anything is rosier today than it was yesterday. But again, it's a relief rally, so that's great to see. But we may be able to pick something up. So that's good. Thanks, Ron, for that one. Let's put it at 197.50 there or so to start on Facebook. And then also, I really like Microsoft to start here. Microsoft is holding up. It's up 2.5%. I really like this 269 coming in once we broke it in the pre-market. I was sitting right here when it happened. We were really looking for 270.50 or 270.25 on the sticky note, which is right here. Everything would be up now $1, $2. But the spreads are large, and I didn't call this move in the pre-market, so you can't have everything. But I think on a NASDAQ pullback, I really like Microsoft there, and I like Facebook here at 197.50. So we'll sit there, and then look, if you can't put, and this is the thing that I think I do the best, and that is this is why I have $5, $6, $7, $10 winners on some of these names sometimes, right? Is that you got to get the right level, but then you got to be willing to hold. If you put on 1,000 shares here at 197.50, well, you better be able to hold that until 195. So that's going to be a $3,000 hit. If your account can't hold that, then don't use 1,000 shares. And that's the whole point of what this market's all about. This is like a scalping market right now. If you want to use a lot of shares, fine, but off the open, you could get absolutely run over. Let's wait for some levels to build. 1,000 shares down here at 196 is a completely different story because you have a 195 bottom. So the most you're going to lose is that dollar. You can afford that maybe, right? And so that's the kind of stuff that goes through my head. So the amount of shares that I'll put on, that's how I use it, right? I never try to lose more than 25% of my net, what I'm looking for on a day. I can lose a lot of money, but that's just because the system, and that's the problem with a lot of new traders, they trade until they're shut down. What the hell's the point of that? What you're trying to do is limit your losses, not say I'm going to hold this until it's a maximum loss. So what we're trying to do is lose. If my goal is to make $1,000 on the day, then what I do is put enough spot here that if this trade goes bad, I'm going to lose $250, $300 because I want to make that money back. So those are the opportunities that I have. I never want to be too upset on a trade. We get upset on them, but you got to have risk management here, Brendan. And it's 9:25. We're almost getting ready to rock and roll. This should be one of those days where managing risk is pretty important.
Yeah, going to be important for big tech and the NASDAQ in general today, guys. Part of this move, it looks like, came after billionaire David Tepper on CNBC said he covered his NASDAQ short yesterday. So That helped things back to the upside here. But I mean, Apple's another one you talked about. Microsoft, Facebook there. Apple's another one. Similar look here, back above 155, trying to hold up 2%. Even the chip stocks looking pretty good here, guys. Going to be a big day, though, if these can hold up the way they are now.
Well, I mean, there's one of those. Look, we put Netflix in there for the big tech, and I get it. It used to be. It doesn't really. I don't think it counts. I don't know if it's really counted as much as it had in the past, but it's there for now. But it's set up really, really well this morning. That wipeout bottom, the bottoms that we talked about, that just this 175 just coincided with previous support. Very, very shallow drop down through that price at the end of the day, and then you had this nice consolidation set up for a break. And not many things set up exactly like this or as good as this one for the long. I already took some out at 178 and looking like the channel of 180 to 185. It's a wide range, but that's how far we could go. Like if we get one of those relief rallies can extend up to 4%, say on the NASDAQ, then this is the kind of name that can get into those 180s to be sure. And it is more about where it's come from, right? Like you still got to dodge. You still got to dodge a few bullets here overall for Netflix. This is not breaking. This is on the daily chart. It's not breaking out until it's over $200, well over $200. Since earnings, it really hasn't made any kind of a recovery. So even a good bounce into the 180s won't mean a heck of a lot outside of the day trade, which is what we're looking at here today. If it takes out that low from yesterday, then kaputs. That's the out. We've seen rug pulls before, someone was mentioning in the chat that, yeah, you get the best up days, you get the best rug pulls as well. But as long as you have an out, get through yesterday's bottoms, I don't like these longs that are trying to go from here. If you take yesterday's low after rallying 2%, that'd be an ugly sign. But right now the markets are heading up, so the only short I still have on is going to be Peloton, and going to be looking for an Nvidia. If I can get back to 174-ish on Nvidia, I'd like to get into that. And I talked about Tesla and NIO already.
Okay, we took a little bit of pressure off there on Peloton. It's fine. I mean, I'm still thinking lower. I just want to be able to average in if it does rip up. So like I said, try to be disciplined here. The NASDAQ did come out. Palantir's a buy. We're looking at 780 here on a buy. I mean, it's just a buy right now. On here. I'm not saying that it's a buy overall. MTTR's there. I like Matterhorn. That's there right there. For a stock, Clover's there as a sell. That's that new bank, I think. That's the Warren Buffett
Brazilian,
South American Brazilian SoFi. Yeah. Can't believe they said they called themselves, they equated themselves to SoFi. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, and then anyways, it's this 780 level here on Palantir that I was talking about right there that we tested yesterday early. It's where we opened. 10 down to. We actually had the long down here, and then it was right there, 780. So if you could take that out on Palantir, that could be a good level, or a short. I'm going to wait to go long on that level. It probably tests it, then if it fades back, then we have some outs. I don't think we'll hold this for more than about 10 cents against us on an out, and then maybe even right here, 765, so about 15 cents worth. So again, I do the same kind of math. How many shares can I hold 15 cents against me? If so, then that's where I want to be at, right? So Palantir right now on a move higher. Watch out for that 780, especially if it gets going. I like that level, but then I think you're going to run into some problems here at 810. So it's not going to be a big trade. Like 1-to-1 would be pretty good, man. 780 up to 8. We'll take that with 15 cents worth of risk. I think it's pretty worth it right there. But hey, let's not leave Brendan too long. He's got to get back to the desk and make some trades. It's a small cap name he's looking at right now.
90 seconds to go here. Let's have a look at EVAX, guys. Bottom end of the list here. We are coming into support. Just note, if you are trying to short this, there is a big congestion area around 320 to 3. This little shelf on the way down, the bigger move to the downside was 380, 375, 380. So I'm going to give this to the high a day. It's already showing all signs that it is very weak. Heavy sell volume back to the downside in the pre-market here, up 34%. Above day highs, there's a huge space all the way to 450. So you get above day highs, probably gets to 450, guys.
Yeah, that's a spicy one. Also, watch out that VRM did take out that high. I got it when it took 167, sorry. $2 a big level there. Rivian just broke to 24. It's actually holding with a 23-cent spread. With 90 seconds to go, or less than that, a minute ago, I just saw a 20-cent spread on Rivian, which is almost on 1 million shares. So that's the kind of market we're looking at. The big evens have been key, 25 and 26 to those upsides there as well. Netflix starting to come back. I'm looking for 174 to reload it. NVIDIA, oh my goodness, that's the one that's still going. So maybe we do get a pullback off 177 and can maybe get a play between 72 and 74. But this one could have gotten away from us. Watch out for Tesla and NIO as well. This looks like it's going to be a spicy day. We slowed down in the futures, but 2.5%, Already pretty good start for the markets here.
Yeah, we just got into Ford as it took off the top there. We're long at 83. We tried to punch 80s. Obviously, we got 83s for some reason. But again, this is the pre-market, so what to expect on Ford. You know, it looks like now, I don't like to get in on the pre-market, but we are. So watch out for Ford here, hopefully climbing a little higher today, down to 1350 if we're wrong. Here we go.
just got under there. We're closer than we thought. It's 7-6.
Yeah.
Rob is on the bell this morning. Ring it in 3, 2, and 1. Do it, buddy. Oh, it's not.
Right.
I don't know if it's a rally bell, but the market is trying to rally. I did mention some Tesla levels. So someone just mentioned like Tesla in the chat levels. I was saying 795 on a dip. Obviously, yesterday's low was pretty important, but $8 if you wanted to open up that channel. I'm looking at NVIDIA start to come back in here and. Oh no, only about $1 or so, but it is a Netflix that just bounced on me. Down goes Peloton. I did want to grab that at the open. I have my 15-minute charts open at this open because I'm expecting some wider ranges. You can see I have bids all the way from 1150 down into 1050 on Peloton as it starts to come back. Rivian still at 24. I took this one off thinking we get a pop at the open. It's still holding the 24 range, so I'll play off the 24 if this is where it wants to go. The current high on Rivian is a 24.10. If it breaks that, I'm out. I'm looking for 25 even because this is one, I don't want to be too stubborn about it. There it goes. Already broken on Rivian, but tight stops to begin with because you want to play these bigger levels. The market's breaking out. NVIDIA just dropped $2 when the NASDAQ's at highs.
Yeah. I just punched long into Facebook here as well. Hopefully that one will work out. Long at 201. We like that 201 long here for Facebook. But again, the market just ripped up, so we don't want to get caught high here. So, you know, be very, very careful. We're not into Rivian. We're going to wait for 25.50. But here we go. Facebook, look at the bounciness here. It's bouncing around a lot, so we're going to have to wait out for this one, see where it goes. But right now, AMC's the ripper that we thought it would be, up to 1330. So this is the call that we had, guys. There goes AMC. Let's go, man. We're trying to diamond hands this one. There's the out at 1350. Now let's see if it goes higher. This is on the sticky note. We're all over this name. Come on, Facebook. Come on, AMC. Up to 1350. Now we're getting excited as AMC goes. This is what we're talking about, man. There we go. AMC to the upside. A good little out there that we had. Let's take another piece and then see where we go. It's bouncing around at 1350. AMC for the win, guys.
What an absolute gift that just was on NVIDIA. So the market was breaking new highs. NVIDIA dropped right back into 175 and then right back into 177. But that's a gift horse I didn't want to look in the face. It's still trying to sell off here a little bit. So if it comes back, I'm looking 174 for the next little dip. You know what? Actually, no. That's a wick off top. You want to see it settle down a little bit more. That's a wick off top. I'm not going to jump back into that one too aggressively. Netflix is starting to go here, so that's showing some signs of strength. It's still NFLX, Neil. You got to be able to spell it right. Up to that 180 mark. It tried to dip into 176. I was waiting down around 174, but off to the races on Netflix. I can only imagine Tesla might have gotten away from me as well, but we did say we wanted to wait till the open for some of these. No dip on Tesla. Looks like it's only rallying to the upside on Tesla. So might have to get very, very patient with that. Rivian good out of 24.
Okay.
That's still running to the upside. And I don't want to forget about Upstart. This is the worst of them all.
Oh, no.
And it's halted. Halted to the upside.
Yep.
It's about to get real spicy because it's still down 53%. You can bet your bottom dollar. If we open up around $40 or have a chance to test off that 40, that's the level we liked. It halted at 36. So obviously I wasn't going to take that trade because it halted.
Yep, exactly. And okay, so we did average into a little bit here on Facebook to the upside, but let's just see where it goes from here. We did get out again on some of our AMC as that, good outs there at 50. So, we're pretty light. I mean, that's the play that we wanted on that name, so we're pretty happy with it. Nothing to complain about. Peloton, I thought I had an offer back here at 1250. I guess I didn't. But now that I'm looking at it, it was at 1245 was my offer. So the highest we got to there was 1238. Now it's coming back in. So this is going to be a good trade for us. What's not a good trade is Ford. We take that early off that break. We sort of thought that there was a problem. I hate getting into trades early like that one because then you're suffering through this NASDAQ pullback. So we're going to have to wait for Ford to come back in a little bit here. I took a third out when we broke back down through 80 again. We got out 78. So 5-cent hit on a third of that. We're going to average into Ford. Hopefully it can get back to the upside. Peloton's coming in. And then right now, bigger fish to fry is Facebook. We're long at 75. It's not a problem. problem, especially if the NASDAQ wants to bounce here. I like Facebook at these levels, but still needs to get going. We took a high break on that one. We got to learn our lesson from some of these at some point here and stop breaking the bank higher. AMD down to 88.50. That's going to be a good buy at some point, but the market is still in rally mode, but we're going to take down this 50 period very soon, guys. So watch out here. The market could take a little step down.
Yeah, it absolutely could, and that's why I waited out for 174 and the next dip on NVIDIA. Going to be very, very patient with it. That vroom is just absolutely vrooming. Nah,
Yep.
that sucks. I'll come up with something
It's not
better.
great, but it's all right.
That sucked, man.
Sucks,
I appreciate
yeah.
you saying that, but I
It
got
sucks.
nothing for it. It's getting close to $2, so yeah, man, this one is absolutely going nuts. It's a 30% short interest in $2, certainly a big level. I'm staring at this Upstart. The indicated open on Upstart is flat at 36.06.
Oh, shoot,
and it
that's
should
right.
be open in about 1 minute. I do not want to miss Upstart. That's why I'm not really getting into anything new, but $2 on Vroom is one that I'd go for. I'm on the bid of NVIDIA, so I just got more shares in off that 174 for the dip buy. But the next thing is going to be UPST, baby. Look, I don't think it would open up flat under these circumstances, but that is what it's saying. It's saying a 36 open. I was thinking it would gap up and we'd be able to take something off of 40. I do prefer the short, but it is trying to squeeze, and it's down 53%. Was that Brennan?
Yep.
I kind of chuckled in the pre-market this morning when I saw Cron reported as well. Just broke $3 here back to the upside, guys, for CRON after earnings.
Yeah, we haven't looked at some of the cannabis names in a while here. All right, so I'm averaging in. Ooh, I thought I got that fill, but I did not. Hopefully Facebook does come back in a little bit and we can take that fill one more time for us here. But that's Facebook right now coming back in to try to test that 198 level. Like I said, the NASDAQ is pulling back in here. So you got to be very, very careful with all of these trades. Here comes Ford back in as well. Going to test 50 maybe on Ford. Came in. What does this Ford look like here? Yeah, so again, you know, some of these bottoms there, we'll see if it can hold 42, 43, but Ford coming in down to 45 right now, so you got to watch out. This is going to be a bad day, man. Like, we're already stuck a little bit long, so we got to make sure that we get the right prices in here that count when it counts. So right now, we're going to go to Miss V again. What's up?
Hey guys, we've got a super chat from Rolando Vergara. Thank you so much, Rolando. VRM Squeeze, thank you for the pre-market list. You're very welcome, Rolando. Guys, make sure you have our absolutely free watch list. And indeed, room is up around 70%, guys.
Own out.
So Upstart, I just had to pay for locates on Upstart when they were available earlier in the session, which usually means that there's some shorts out there. But yeah, now I had to pay for them. It opened up and reclaimed 36. It looks like it was trying to go. It just got to that 38 level. I want to try to be real patient here because if it's already a crowded short, oh man, it could get really ugly squeezing back up. That 40 level is certainly in play. But if it doesn't get now below 35, I think you have to wait for 40 if you want the short side of the trade. As I stared at that, I tried to be patient when we stopped out. I said I'd get back in at the open and completely whiffed. I'm getting back into this one. Instead, you know, I get more shares of NVIDIA, and I'm staring at Upstart, wanting to get into this trade. But Rivian now coming all the way back down. Peloton's caught a bit of a bid here in front of this 1150 area. Looks like it might spike back into the 1250s. I didn't reload at that price. I think it could be worth it to do so. Tesla, going to go to Brendan in a quick second, come back with Tesla.
Coupang, guys, another one that reported. CPNG. Yeah, earnings weren't good, but nice move higher here, back towards $11 for CPNG.
Coupang? Oh my God. Yeah, blast from the past there with Coupang coming through. Okay, I guess we should start to buy now on Ford. I mean, I was waiting for 50 to come through here. We got out of a third, so we can sort of reload this down here at some point. But again, we're trying to wait for these bottoms. I mean, I don't even want to mess with down here. We're trying to see if it breaks 40 to the downside, so we're trying to be a little patient with it. We did get out of some more here on Facebook as it ripped back up a little bit. It's starting to go now, but we took out a little piece there. Just, again, we just don't want to be dying on a sword here, especially if the NASDAQ wants to continue to fall down. So we will, you know, rest on some of these names, but again, trying to take advantage of some of these plays here. So we'll wait for this. If it can come in, that would be great for Facebook. Back to the upside. Also trying to average in at some of these bottoms. It just keeps on missing us, man. So that's not good, but we're going to wait for that. If it can come back in, fine. But the NASDAQ right now has to retake that 50 period. If it doesn't, then all these trades are going to be dead. Let's just check in on Microsoft. That came back to 270. Unfortunately, we're waiting at 269. We talked about that, so we didn't get that bid, but that came right in to the pre-market there, to the level that we like, 270. Darn it, that's too bad, because that's starting to go right there. Microsoft's going upside here, and it looks like Facebook's going the other way right now. So look at the difference here in the chart. That's not a good sign for this Facebook trade. If it's not going to be relatively strong, then it's probably not going to work in a weak market. So we got to watch out for that one. Apple, just going to go over some of the major caps here. AAPL, just to see what we're doing, to see if we can find one that's maybe stronger. Apple right now, market up 2, Apple up 2.5. So that's nice. Starting to rally up, but now fade back in again. So yeah, okay, I think we're gonna have to manage this Facebook trade a little bit more. What's up, Brendan?
Just saw a note on Netflix, guys. Apparently they're telling employees ads coming by the end of the year, or the option for ads on Netflix.
Look, I think we all knew that was coming for Netflix.
Yep.
It makes a lot of sense. We're back below the halt price. Tesla bounced off 805, so it never got to that 795, 8 area. But Upstart just tried to take out these highs, got back below the halt price just very, very briefly there. So I'm going to take first shot here. I said I'd wait for that 40 level. But when we start to fail back through that halt price, that's always a setup I'm going to have. So I just took under 36. If it takes out a fresh top, remember, this is a crowded trade. So if you don't have a stop through the high, then I mean, yeah, I guess you can do that if you want to. I think that's crazy, but always have a stop. $40 is the next level to the upside. NVIDIA is starting to come back in as well, so check that. We got back in at 174. It looks like it's about to test 173. Yeah, sometimes you get those rug pulls. All I got is Peloton and Upstart to the short side. Missed out on that Rivian trade. And there was one other one that we totally forgot about, and that was going to be Affirm. I got out of that one at the open, or in front of the open. It squeezed or squoze to 2060. And now right back below the $20 level. So Affirm was off to the races ahead of their earnings. Now right back into the downside. Crazy price action. We said sit these out and then wait till they settle down after the open. At least we did that right on a couple of these names, Rivian and Affirm. Wow, that was a squeeze.
I mean, guys, the AMC. I mean, look what AMC's at, $14, man. We just got a piece out. We're long at $12.90 still on AMC. Just got a piece out at 14. The number one name on the sticky note today, AMC. So let's see, we just took a piece out. We were sitting there, so we let it rock and roll there to the upside. AMC, a piece out on that one. Now we got to wait for it to hopefully come back in and we can try to reload. But there it is. We are now pretty light on AMC. That's that move that we talked about, man. A break of 1350 up to 14. That's exactly what we got. So what's going on, Brendo?
The CYN showing signs of life again today, guys. Back to these highs. Once again, it struggled every time it got up here to 475, above 450 even. Back to the upside, but huge volume spike there for CYN.
Yeah, we don't want to ignore it. Like that CYN's been a crazy one, and I feel like every single time I miss it, I get sort of trash talked by Dominic and some of the guys on there. But there's a lot to watch, and you don't want to be over trading. I did look to see where I wanted to get into Affirm if I can on a bit of a fade. It'll have to be 20 to 2025. I don't think I want to stretch out too far on that one. And Netflix is even starting to come back. One of the strongest ones this morning. It got into those 180s. I thought once it got to that range, we were looking to hold it, get into that 182, 185. Still looking in the money, but really starting to come back in. If we can't hold 175, it could get really ugly for that one in particular. I do like Affirm. NEO also. We talked about Tesla, but NEO holding out above 14 if my chart wants to load for me. 13 was that double bottom. 14 even was a breakout in the pre-market. Of course, this is now not going to load, but holding fort at that 14 even price. Good consolidation there, and then you might have some relative strength in NIO.
All right, we're not gonna let Facebook get too much below 198. So, I mean, here it comes right back in right now. This market's pulling back, right? I mean, this is not going to be the name that we're going to want to, like, you know, hopefully have this name go back up. There's no hoping. I mean, it either breaks or it doesn't break. Looks like it's going to break right now down to one. There it is. So back down through 198. We'll get out of a piece there on Facebook as that dipped in. So not much we could do on that except for lose. I mean, we're trying to defend this market. It's going to the downside. We should have rethought about a short there, but, you know, obviously Facebook, we took it for the long. Now we're going to have to wait for some of those prices to come in like we actually mentioned before here, like this 196, 195. I mean, that's what we started the day with, talking about some of these levels. And my first bid was at 197.50. So, you know, we just got caught up. And that's what happens, man. When we take out the day's high there, it's always a bad trade for me. We talked about when breakouts are bad. I mean, and we talked about this the other day,
they
how to
suck.
trade, these kind of markets. And it was like, don't take breakouts. So that started it down there. We got out of a little bit. We're still holding. I mean, it could go back up. I mean, everything will be good if it does. But we do have to wait for some lower bids now to come through on Facebook. And we almost got that 197.50, right? It went down to 197.60. So let's sit here around 197, see if we can get it here on Facebook, guys. But Brendan has more for us.
Just be careful of the market here, guys. The Fed's Mester, Loretta Mester, I believe is her name, just making some comments here on the employment situation, saying that unemployment may need to rise before the end of this inflation. I mean, there's nothing really that we haven't heard already, but just be careful of the market with the downtick there.
Yeah, and it's like the only short is the one that looked the ugliest this morning. I think it's for both of us, that Peloton trade. Although I did just get out of Upstart, so we'll do this one for Upstart, at least for the first time through. If it gets to that 40 level, we still like it for a bit of a fade. NVIDIA couldn't hold, so that's starting to break down. Netflix is still trying to hold out, and Tesla's getting very close to that 800 level. So being pretty patient with that one. I just finally got into AMC. I didn't get the 1350 break on AMC, and I'm not really sure why. I feel like a few stops didn't work this morning, but it's back at that 1350, which is a breakout price. It never really tested those lows. It's one of the few names that's strong in the markets, and here comes the downside action.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a look. If the market's going to turn like this, yeah, I'm going to take another shot. I already got out of HPDS. I already got out of my NVIDIA trade. It's Netflix that I'm holding on to. I'm going to take another swing at Upstart here. I know it's down 51% and can squeeze to the upside, but if this market starts to come back in, the potential for this to be back at 30 is too great to ignore. And Peloton definitely got to start covering some in front of $11. There was a buyer at 11 on Peloton.
Yeah, we're starting to get some cover right now, 35. We just took a nice little print out there on Peloton. So this is working out. AMC worked out for us. What is not working out, of course, is Facebook and Ford. Both Fs today. But here it is coming back in. So now we're starting to get prices that we don't mind back in here for Facebook. And again, we're just going to see, is it going to break yesterday? I mean, that's really the key here. 196. I mean, that bottom broke at the end of the day down to 195.50. So maybe that's something a little bit better to look at here. But yeah, as the market comes in right now, we were up 2.5%. Remember, now you're only up 1.5%. So yeah, taking some of those high breaks, not worthy today, not working out. But some of the names are still fine. Tesla's back through 800 right now. Yeah, it is 801 right now. Tesla.
Yeah, but not through 800. Oh, you mean upside?
Yeah, upside. Yeah, upside on 800. Yeah,
That's my bad.
Through on the way down for sure, coming out for Tesla. But here we go. One more try here for Facebook, man, and then we'll see what it does at that 195.50. It's coming back in right now. So we'll average in around like this 196.20 or 30 level, and then give it to that very bottom, and then that's that. We'll lose a little bit here on Facebook, but that's. We didn't think that this would be pulling back this hard today. I thought there was going to be a little bit of a turnaround Tuesday, but it doesn't look like that. It looks like terrible Tuesdays here if you're long. So watch out for this. It just did touch a little low there. Maybe we did a rally move back, but Facebook right now, 195.50 is what I'm going to look at. So we got to average in closer to 196. We don't need to get blown out too hard on this name right now, but it's Brendo.
I noticed CCL on the balance locator at the top of the list this morning. NCLH, guys, reported wasn't really doing anything in the pre-market. Got up to 17.5 there with the market, but straight back down. Still up 2.8 though for Norwegian.
Yeah, look, oh man, there's so many names that you could want to trade, but realistically, you got to find the pocket to get into. I just got into Tesla. That's why when you said already broke 800, I'm like, I just got into it at 801.
Yeah.
I like we talked about the mid 90s as that big line in the sand, like 795, 93, I guess you could look at as well. But we're getting a breakout on UVXY. It's at one of the reasons why I can get into the long is we actually just got to the pre-market highs. If you extend through, I mean, none of this is going to work out for the long side of the trade, whether it's Netflix, whether it's going to be the Tesla trade here. I did get back into Upstart, but other than that, it's just Peloton that I have to the short side, and I want to try to get some Affirm. But yeah, I look at that UVXY, and it's sort of telling me that if you don't have a stop, you need to have one in. Because we're coming here back into the downside. I guess it's just one of those rug pull type of days. I cannot believe that the only thing I got short is Peloton Upside. Didn't find a quality name. I shouldn't have said quality name. Didn't find something like an Affirm that I could hold on to.
Yeah, man. Some of these levels coming in right now, and I really, really like Microsoft. It's coming right into where we liked it again, back downside to 269 right now. But At the same time, man, I mean, we're not going to go long Microsoft and hold our long on Ford and Facebook as the market's coming back in like this. I mean, this is a dramatic move down, like crazy. Facebook really got started when it took out the high there, and we got baited in to take that. So that was a bad trade for us. But here's Microsoft again. Or sorry, this is the NASDAQ, but the NASDAQ's right here on these bottoms. Forget about the bottom that happened basically at the end of the day. I'm really concerned about the NASDAQ taking out the levels that we're on right now, this 12,340. I mean, this is sort of the levels from yesterday afternoon. And then again, this is the pre-market, but it's these levels right here that need to hold. So if we can't hold this 12,340, I mean, then we're going to start to test some of these pre-market bottoms, and that's not good because off those bottoms, we rallied, it stopped. Now, if we take those out, 12,300, then that's a problem. So we're going to have to watch out for NASDAQ. It's about to turn down, I guess double digits, man, sub 1% soon. So yeah, not great. But here's Microsoft, probably near a spot that we could try. I mean, there's that 268 from yesterday coming through, 269. So, a little bounce action from that, it could be possible here. So that's something worth taking. I think we'll probably test it if it gets a little lower near that 269 area.
Yeah, the test in Tesla might not hold up here. We do have the long now, $5 in front of that 73. I mean, 75 area. 73 is the actual low. Upstart's still holding out here, barcoding off this 37. It keeps on trying to get going through the high of the day. At some point, like if we don't break out the top, Upstart's going to drop a few dollars. We already saw it halt once to the upside, relieving a lot of pressure. So you know what can happen next. Like it's pretty binary. Like we're either going to break out of this range upside where you stop out here in front of 38.5, or we're flushing back down into those low 30s. Netflix, I did grab the reload in Netflix. Came right down into that 174. Now we're starting to get back in here. But I look over, I see we're still at the highs on UVXY, and that means don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And try to get some of this out for some profit, because when I look over and see that we're still breaking out in volatility or potentially breaking out, you do not want to sit here lacking profit taking on some of these longs if you can get them. AMC still holding up of 13, but almost everything's starting to come back in. With the notable exception, I should say not notable exception. There are a few names out there, but Twitter, I was going to say, where is it? Come on. Low. No, actually, never mind. It is at the lows of the day. My chart was just slow. I saw it at 48, and I'm like, why is that at the high?
Okay, I don't know, 2.57, just looking here to take. So we are long Clover now here at 60. Just trying to give it just made that bottom at 257. So if 257 breaks, I mean, you could also hold it down here to 250. That's not a horrible trade for Clover. I mean, I'm debating doing that. Yeah, it's probably gonna break here. So hold on a second, I'm gonna cancel that. Yeah, down here to 250, that 250 level right there. I mean, look how high up Clover was, and now it's just getting spanked down again. So, I mean, some of these names that are even trying to report good numbers here, starting to get hit today. Clover monster pre-market. I got that's aftermarket, but a nice pre-market move up to 290. It just faded in here. So, yesterday's high right there of 250 should hold. So let's see if it can hold again there. We'll average into this one like 253, 254, hoping that it holds 250. So Clover right now averaged into that name. We've got Facebook trying to run back upside right now with the market trying to go. So hopefully we got something now in some of these plays. Peloton down near 1130. Let's take another piece out right here. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, Mike Crehan sent us a super chat saying, great show. Thank you so much, Mike. Glad you enjoyed. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. And guys, if you also enjoy the community and the show, please make sure you like this video. More than 7,000 people are watching us right now, and we need your support. Back to you guys.
Hi.
And thank you for that, Mike. But it's one of those things, and we'll shout this one out. I hit that key for Miss V more than anything else. It's like, she should be the superhero sometimes, maybe not us. But the difference between being patient and not being patient, I showed you no patience in Rivian. I showed you what one little impatient mistake in Peloton looked like. And then Tesla, it's like you could have liked the break and been long at like 810s, and maybe we get back up there on any kind of bounce. Market bounces, there's so much room to run. But it was that bottom end of the channel, down around 800 till that 790. That's where you wanted the long. Unfortunately enough, able to get it here. But we're not out of the woods yet. If you don't hold a bid at this channel or above 800, while we're still, I mean, UVXY is pulling back now, but while we're still threatening this pullback, it's a wick top on the futures, man. Like, this is what the NASDAQ looks like. And I say it with a chuckle because, I'm not in shorts that follow the market. I'm in the longs that follow the market mostly. And you have this high from yesterday in the morning that just got wicked to on the NASDAQ, and that's where we pull back from. That's not necessarily the best sign for the longs. However, if we break that high, well then, hey, that's going to look pretty good. Brendan?
Novavax, guys, just popped up on volume once again. I guess we're getting into some of these areas from aftermarket, late aftermarket yesterday, following results. But nice move here, right from the open, back to the upside for NVAX.
Yeah, that's not one that I want to go into.
What's up, Nicholas?
I said I was going to take profit. I didn't do it just yet. I just now took first profit on the reload on Netflix, 174 into 175.5. Let's see if this can start to really get going here. Now, obviously, and the other one, Upstart, we said it would be relatively binary. There's an iceberg at 35 right now. Oh, never mind. There was an iceberg at 35 on Upstart that just got broken, so I just got some shares out 34.50. Now remember, it didn't lose on the first short side of the trade. Now looking for 33s and 30s as this one starts coming back down into earth. After the halt up, you kind of knew it was no way it was going to go sideways for very long, but Upstart's starting to fall back in, down 54%. 54%, yet it halted up and has just pulled back $4 or $5. This should be a wild one all day.
Yeah, I should be going over there and starting paying for some shorts as well. Who knows what that was over there? Okay, so yeah, Facebook's starting to rally a little bit. Hopefully it can get going. I mean, we're looking at VWAP areas here to get something out. Okay, here it goes. A nice little move back upside for Facebook. So I want to say shout out to Nicholas. He said, sorry, he shorted Facebook. Yeah, hey man, that's all good. That's what we're here for, man. To give some trade ideas, and I'm happy. Like, I want our viewers to make money. There's days where we make money and you guys don't, and vice versa. And we're here to teach and learn and everything. So that's all good, man. I mean, we just made a lot back on it, so it's all good on that one, man. For Facebook, the only thing we've really messed up today was Peloton. Honestly, was some of these upside moves. Everything else has been pretty clean for us. Facebook's bad because we had to hold it when it came down, but still a nice little reload there. Just took some profit. Obviously, if the market could continue to go up, the really missed trade was me sitting here talking about MSFTQ. Nope, that's not the right name. There it is, Microsoft. Because we had a 269. I mean, this was the trade that we have written down here on our sticky note, 269. And guess where it came right into 269? And I wasn't bidding because I was too loaded up in Facebook. So that sucks because now that's $2 in the money. Hopefully some of you were listening and liked that level that we gave. Again, it's all on the sticky note right here. So that was a key level for that one, 279. What's up, Joshua Kim? Do you ever filter your tape? I should filter this for minimum size, but I don't, so that's a great question. Thanks for asking. I should do it. You are right, Mr. Joshua Kim, on that one. Not that you're saying I should, but I do not, but I should. Okay, Clover, whatever, man. That went to 2. I mean, I have decent position here, so if this can go up, I was hoping for 70s if Clover can go, but look at the market. The markets went upside and Clover didn't do jack all. So I don't know if Clover's going to do anything here today. I thought it had a chance to go if the market rebounded. It didn't. So that's a little bit of an area of concern for me right there. Go Facebook. Now $1.25 in the money as this is starting to go back up to the upside here. FB, let's go. We'll take a piece out. Good little move back here for Facebook, guys.
Yeah, we'll try to do this one for Tesla. It just put a wick top at 805. I just took some out at 805. I'm looking for teens for the last of it, but this rally needs to start getting back going. We are, and this is the thing, I keep looking at this because it's been such a really good indicator as to where to take profit out. Like, this is yesterday's bottom on UVXY. We just got back there on a pullback, so I would have expected a consolidation, which is why I took some profit out on Tesla there at that 805 range. Could be wrong about that, but it's been a pretty reliable indicator for where you might want to take some out, or sometimes it's add to your positions. Netflix, on the other hand, again, it's another name which is trying to get back in. We're not even close to retesting VWAP, let alone these highs. I'm not sure we're going to see that 800 level that I was looking for. Sorry, the 180 level that I was looking for again on Netflix. Peloton, weirdly enough, going sideways, it still has a bid above $11. So until 11 breaks, you still have to watch out for that squeeze potentially happening again on Peloton up to that 1250. Really, it's like a 1250 to 1275. More of an upper channel there. Come on, Tesla. Back through that 805. I want those teens, baby. Let's get going, Tesla.
Yeah, $1.70 in the money with Facebook as well. Nice trade on Tesla there. Upstart's rocking and rolling. Peloton's rocking. So far, so good here. I did take out 40% of Clover for flat. It's just, in at 260, I'll average back down here. And then if it can hold 250, fine. but it doesn't want to go up. I mean, everything else is ripping, and I'm wasting my time here on this name. So we're not going to look at it. We took out a little bit there, and we'll worry about it after it hopefully goes back upside. We'll look at that. Nice little move there for Softy. Nice little move for Tesla. Let's see what's happening with Apple right now. Same kind of thing right here happening on Apple. Man, Microsoft was the biggest miss, man. That 269 was about as golden as you're ever going to get on that name. But Apple, unfortunately, we have that big wick. So let me just zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, there's the break there. 155 would have been a good take for Apple as well. Maybe this market is back to the upside here, up 2%. Let's watch out. Apple's going. I think we can get into Apple, but I'd rather have it back down near 155. Let's put a 155 bid. By the way, $2 now in the money on Facebook. That was a good hold, at least.
Oh man, I know exactly how you feel. Like you get the hold, and it's like you want to celebrate a winning trade, and then I just look back at Nvidia. I was like, yeah, Tesla's at 808, yeah, but Nvidia's back at 177, and I stopped out of Nvidia and never got in at the low of the day, and that's going to happen to you. Like if you have multiple levels that you like, you can take it off and say it breaks this, it's my out, and I'll look for a better price. But if you never get that better price, then guess what? Maybe it wasn't that great getting out. No, it's always good to follow your rules. I'm just kind of a little bit salty about Nvidia because it is pretty strong. On the other end, I did mention this yesterday. I don't think it's coming into play here today. I'll be bidding in front of $43 on Intel all week. Even on that last little dip, it didn't get anywhere close, but that's a pretty good solid level that at some point I feel like we could see again. And when we do, it's like a 6-year. It's one of those, you look at a daily chart and you'll be long in front of 43 until it breaks. Tesla, if we get through 810 here, I am looking to cover in front of these teens. We just turned around off $18 on UVXY, so up to 1860, back into 18 and putting on a bit of a curl. Maybe that's telling me I should be getting out here. Man, the way these longs are going, I should just be taking it out on this particular curl.
Everything is going wrong,
just paying attention to what volatility's been telling me, which is cover some of your trades to the long side. As I just got the call for Brendan, let's see what's happening now. It looks green, doesn't feel green.
Hey guys, 10 o'clock green, top to bottom. Nice to see after the past couple of days here. S&P 1.4 to the upside, the Dow 1%. The Russell very, very strong for a small cap so far this morning. NASDAQ leading though, 2% and 1.8 there for the composite and the 100. As we said, tech trying to lead in the pre-market continues to be that way. There's the TSX about 1%. Some resource names bouncing back to the upside. Yeah, we had Vroom on the watch list this morning after earnings. Failed miserably at 190. That was a great opportunity. I was looking at other things, but got into some congestion on the daily chart and then still falling straight back to the downside for VRM. We had AMC on watch off earnings, obviously. There was an NFT note on GameStop around the open. Did get a spike, but not really doing anything. Right back to 102. Volume way better, guys, on AMC. Back to you.
AMC, all right. AMD, AMC, they're all in the party today. Yeah, it was a good trade for me on AMD. And AMC, that was a good trade. So we're happy with the way that one played out for us. But yeah, right now we're just rocking and rolling here. We're trying to make some money on this Facebook long. It's $1.60 in the money right now. So far so good on that, but we still got to wait for it. I was looking at AMD, which is trying to break a 90 right now. And again, I don't want to take that high break because we've done that so many times. The real long was down here again. So, the market's taken off. We're trying to get Facebook back in. By when I say the market's taking off, it took off from that bottom. We're still dancing here. You just made that nice high. So there might be some fading opportunities right now, right? And so that's the thing. Like AMD right here at 90 looks great. I don't want to go short this market, so that's not going to come in for me. But there it goes right now. Nothing but love to the upside. Really, Microsoft is the missed trade for me easily. Now $3 in the money off that 269. I don't know why I just didn't push the button, man. But there goes Tesla, 813 now.
I know. I just covered.
That one's rocking, man.
I just covered below 10, and of course, it's going to give you those 13s, 14s that I was looking for. Remember that 11 buyer on Peloton? I got one more leg out at 11:30, and now it's starting to run back up. So if we retest those highs, I'm not getting short at 12. Maybe if it wick tops through 12 even. Otherwise, I'm waiting for that 1250. Only longs left. I still have AMC. As long as AMC holds above the lows, and that low is at 1280. I think it's 1281 or something like that. It's worth holding on to, but Netflix is starting to make a charge. So that's the only long I have left. Peloton short still in there. And of course, Upstart. I'm looking for Upstart to break 34. But here comes Peloton. If it tests up to this, what's now almost a triple top, at 1250. That's the only way I want to add to it. Oh my goodness, I still have to look at NVIDIA. I got to do it. It's just that's your V-shaped bottom and right through that 179. So we're testing 12.5 on the NASDAQ at the exact same moment that we test the bottoms on UVXY at $18. So monster levels coming up both for volatility. I'm holding Netflix almost no matter what because that was a higher time frame trade. I'm trying not to scalp that one. I still think 180s are in play, but NVIDIA could make a little bit of a pullback here if UVXY bounces.
I mean, we just took $3 on Facebook, so we'll jump around on that one as that's a nice trade, and that's what I mean. Sometimes you got to hold some of these plays, even though you don't like them at the time. You got to sort of stay strong and just say like, you know what, this is the play that I like, and I'm going to try to hold on to that one as much as I possibly can right there. So that's a nice move upside for Facebook right now. 201. I mean, wow, that's a 197 reload. Oh, I'm still shook a little bit by our trade there in Microsoft and that we didn't take it. That's a little ridiculous by me on that one. So that's my bad on that. All right, so Teladoc's near 30. I was looking at that name as well. That came all the way. Oh, that came all the way. Oh, darn it. It's NASDAQ. Like, this is what happens when you flip from one NASDAQ stock over to New York stock. Okay, so Teladoc right here. A nice move back down today and the last couple days, man. I mean, Teladoc made a nice move back to 40.41, and then the last 3 days it's just retesting these bottoms. That's 28.80 right now on TDoc. But again, a name that's been beat down, you're down 0.43%. You're right now consolidating at these levels, which is why we're trying to look at it. But it still has that dip down to 30 as a possibility. So I don't know if this is the right name to get involved with, but Teladoc right now at a decent spot. Wow, now Facebook is now $4 in the money as we just took out 201.50. Starting to go to the high side right now. Netflix, we like it. We like all these names, man.
Look at these
Tesla's
guys.
up to 820. The market is just regained the high of the day, basically. I mean, it's close enough right now. So this might be a good shorting opportunity, but I don't want to stand in the way of any of these shorts.
Well, it depends on which. I mean,
yeah.
Upstart capitulated a little bit. I just got some out there for $3 and looking for that 30 bottom to try and take a $5. But Affirm, if a firm was at $20 right now as the market was at the high, I'd be in the short. But it's barely even bouncing, so I don't want to jump into the pre-market high short at 19. I'd like to see maybe a bit of a turnaround in the market, but this looks relatively weak. Like the garbage names aren't bouncing as much as I shouldn't say garbage names. You know what I mean when I say that, right? The growthier names or the don't make any money type names are not bouncing as strongly. Brendo?
Volume spike here, guys, for NVIDIA. Apologies if you mentioned this already, but 6%, almost 7 now for NVIDIA, back to the upside. There was a lot of call volume apparently going off this morning for NVIDIA.
Rub that wound for NVIDIA. Up through 180. Man, that thing is strong.
I like a
stop that at the bottom.
Yeah, I like a Disney trade here if we could take down this 109 level for Disney. So it's all the way down here. We should be able to take this level. We'll test 109. We do have an area here to get out if it does come back in like this, 108.40, 108.50, something like that. But let's see if Disney wants to go to the upside right now. I know this is a tech day today, as like I just said, man, some of these names are just rock. Facebook's $4 in the money. I said about Nicholas that you went short in the morning. I hope you covered, my friend, because now it's ripping and rocking now to the upside as that goes. Peloton, good covers down here. We're lighting it. It is near a reload spot. I didn't even really realize that. Clover's been by far the biggest disappointment, absolutely not moving as we've been invested in this one for a bit and just wasting our time and capital in Clover. Thank God it's only a $2 stock, so it's not actually hitting us that hard. Did you guys see SoFi today, by the way? I'm sorry to bring this up if you own it. It's at $5.50. SoFi right now. Like, what in the hell is going on? This is down 10% today. SoFi, just absolutely no love. I'm not going to trade it, but I didn't even. I thought this would be north of 6, but yeah, I don't know. There must be news on this today, Brendan. Down 9% in an up print where everything else is rocking. So yeah, be very, very careful with SoFi. There's Disney on a fake break of 109. For some reason, we got long there, but there it is. We are now long 109 on Disney. I like it, but we got to try 120 first, or sorry, 109.20. If that can come in, that's great. But that's the level that I'm looking to take something out here on Disney.
Oh, wow. Tesla's at 820. Like, I'm looking at some of these highs, and it's only Netflix that I'm holding on to in AMC to the long side. NIO's trying to break back up here, looking like it wants to get back to that 1450. It broke 14, but then never came down to those lows. I'm still, from the pre-market, bidding in front of 13 if it ever gets there, but that feels like it's going to be a bit of a pipe dream. oh, the market is starting to charge here, and it's this NVIDIA. I'll have to check AMD at some point, but man, NVIDIA, you look at these breaks. I'm not going to live this one down, but yesterday's highs, 182.50 starting to come into play. You're pretty much at this channel, the bottom end of the range that we broke down for the hold your shorts NVIDIA level. That's pretty much on the offer right now. We hold a bit above 182, and that's just a monstrous level. Clearly, it's going to have, I think, some resistance as it gets there, but UVXY just took the bottoms, which means if you got a long, you kind of want to be holding on to it if we're going to break and hold below 18. That said, we are getting a little bit of a consolidation. So I want to put off any moves until UVXY makes its next decision point, with the exception, of course, of Peloton, which I will scalp.
All right, it's not a big one, but it's a win. We'll celebrate it with Ms. V there as Superman's in the building. We take 20 cents right there on Disney. And even better than that, I think we got some 30s out there. What's my best out on Disney? 25, sorry. My best out on Disney, so 25-cent win real quick. We're out of half of those shares right now. Look at the market fading back in a little bit. Ford was nice, man. It just went up to 70, basically putting us back into the money, or it's not in the money, sorry, flat on the trade. You can see the average price off that reload. We've taken some out, but now the market's come back in. So let's get something out now. Facebook just made that high. We can take it out and then not worry about this dip down and then reload it. If it does do that move for us, that'd be great for this name. But again, a little nervous here as the market trying to think about a downside move here. So again, we've taken out some profit on a lot of these names, but it doesn't mean that they're still going to work out. I mean, these names could fall back in again right now on this move. Roblox negative. A lot of these stocks start to churning around here to the downside. So you got to trade the strong names. NEO's still at 15, Microsoft at 272. I don't know. Maybe we should dump this Facebook, but then it starts to tick back up again. So let's try to hold this longs and see how strong they're going to be for a bit. But right now, this market, I don't know, man. It's at these highs. It feels like it wants to hold, so we got to get long something. We didn't get any love back in on our Apple dip. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait for all these names to come back in.
Yeah, it's congratulations if you've been taking your profit when it presents itself. Like that last little pop in Peloton, it comes right back down. I said, that I will scalp trade. Got some back in at 12 and a quarter, well, 12.15 or so. I shouldn't say quarter, 12.15 or so. And then back out some at 11.80, and I'll keep doing that in front of the 11. It's just worth the scalp trade. And someone, HPDS in the chat, do I see myself shorting NVIDIA? Sometimes like the bias gets the better of you, and I would like to the long in NVIDIA today. Yeah, like that's a wick off top. I should have been, I probably should have been looking at something like that for 180.50, but I didn't see it. I didn't see myself doing it. So, you know, I have a bias to the long side for NVIDIA today. And even though it didn't work out, it's certainly one that I kind of wanted to stick to. It's still showing a lot of signs of strength here. But like I said, UVXY is barcoding off the bottom, or at least consolidating off the bottom, which is the next concern. I am holding on to my Netflix. NEO is of concern. Tesla just pulled back into that 810 area. If we do retest these lows, like I'd really need to see the buying step in. For us to put in a lower high and then get all the way through 800 again would not be the best sign in the world, but it's been a good level before. I think the buyers are a little more eager to step in today after yesterday's wipeout. Brendan.
Yeah, I mentioned some of the strength in Chinese stocks this morning. Alibaba got absolutely flushed right out of the gate this morning. We're back into some key levels, though, from yesterday, trying to roll over a little bit here for Baba as well.
So, you know, of course, and thank you guys for pointing it out, and Brendan also letting us know. SoFi reports tonight, and all the other fintech after Upstart getting burned. Like I was talking about, a firm getting absolutely smashed today, despite the fact that it tried to squeeze. So you want to be careful with this. However, if it does make a nice little consolidation here and can reclaim the bottom, it's not a double bottom, but it's close to it at 540. It would have to hold up before it does that. I keep looking over and wanted to take a shot at a firm. It's still down 8%. But it won't come anywhere near that $20 level that I'm looking to get. So I'm trying to be patient with a firm here. They don't report till Thursday, so a couple of days here for them to digest or puke when looking at the Upstart earnings. But a firm definitely going to be under pressure. Like if Upstart can go down 50%, I kind of feel like there's some nervous firm shareholders this week. But that's just, you know, my interpretation.
Yeah, that's the right interpretation, I would say, at this point. Okay, what's the people are not liking today? Clover. It was up monstrous. We've averaged into this trade. It's not going to work out as well on the average in. Just Clover and Ford, both basically not working out on any of these dip buys here. We are going to, I mean, I was hoping that there'd be more size at 50 than this, but right now Clover, you know, a break of 50 and we're going to be gone on this name. It's not a huge position because it just hasn't worked out. Like when we saw this barcoding here as the market ripped, that was a good indication that this probably wasn't going to happen, which is why we got out of a third of that trade for flat, allowing us to average in down here. But at the same time, this breaks back down and we're going to get out of Clover as it doesn't have too much relief or doesn't have too much rally in this stock. It just looks like relief to the downside there. So that sucks for CLOV, Brendo.
Tom Brady fans rejoice. Don't worry about him. He'll be fine when he does finally retire. Fox just announcing, guys, that Tom Brady will join Fox Sports as the lead analyst when his career finally does end. Remember, they lost Joe Buck on the Fox broadcast to ESPN this year as well. So Brady already has a job when he does retire.
Yep.
He could write his own check to any network he wants to. I will say this, though, and like I'm probably the biggest Tom Brady hater of all time just because he was a Patriot and I'm a Bills fan. He's the GOAT. It is what it is. He beat up on the Bills for so long. I don't think he'll be better than Tony Romo. I genuinely believe that Tony Romo is the best ex-player I've seen in the booth in a long time. And I doubt anybody can be better than him. We'll see with Tom. He's still playing as of now, but for people that have him in their fantasy league, they're like, how much longer is he going to play? And when he has a check like that, I hate to be you, I'd be selling in fantasy in a dynasty.
Well, he
league.
has 1 more year, 2 more years.
Yeah, one or two more years.
Maximum anyways.
I'm not sure how much longer Upstart has to try to hold these levels at 33, and I am bidding in front of the low of the day here, but the longer it puts in a higher low, it's squeeze potential galore, right? Like you went from free shorts to having to pay, which usually means it's a very crowded trade. If we don't break through 33 in a short little bit, I got to think about a trail at 35. It's working for now, but much like Peloton is already doing, Peloton's stronger right now than Upstart, that's obvious, above VWAP here, but I'm not reloading aggressively to scalp Upstart. Like that's more of a hold it trade. Peloton, it gets back into these 1250s. You can scalp some into VWAP, but that's a bit of a bull flag starting to form there on that. If it starts breaking out 1250, above this, $14 is the next level. So you kind of want to stop out and then re-engage at a better price entry. Netflix, I want this to be like the hold all day style of trade, but it's a double top just like NVIDIA just did. We saw NVIDIA put in a double top, but Netflix, I just love what it looked like on the 15-minute. When we held that 175 right at the close. It'll tight consolidation, previous low, breakout, dip at the low of the day. If we break above this 180 area, it's just room to 83 to 86. You know, I keep looking at it and saying there's almost $10 worth of upside if we can just get through the high of the day in the market and you've got a great level of support. So it was this one I picked to hold on to the whole day. That might have been the wrong call. We'll see what happens with NVIDIA and Tesla, the ones I scalped out of.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's dipping enough for me to get in right now. I mean, Facebook's still a $4 winner. We're happy with that one, obviously. I mean, $4 is $4. We'll take it. And it's right back to the day's high again. But nothing like that dipped. I wasn't even looking at Facebook. That might have been the only one that dipped down into 200 before ripping back up to these highs again. So this is probably something to look at as far as taking some profit now as Facebook just ripping to the upside. Like, I don't know, $4 in the money, just can't get into anything else. Like Clover's not working upside right now. Ford's not working upside. Disney's good, but only 20 cents. We've been taking it out. It just keeps going back up and down. Hopefully this could take off to that upside one more time. I keep looking, like I'd want to get into AMD, but again, these prices aren't right. Right now. Peloton's back upside, so that's a name to look at for sure. Peloton back, we just got short, so that's good job there. I think Neil's in that trade too. We just looked at it. 1250 just came in for Peloton, so watch out on that one. We did reload the short, so maybe this is something that we could talk about. Other than that, there goes Facebook, still 450 in the money. Sorry for anybody that shorted that. Hopefully you covered it. Now we're rocking upside right now for Facebook, 202. This is probably worth taking, man, right now on FB, as that's a nice move to the upside there. 202.50 it just blew up to. That's good. We don't have any other longs, but that could be one that we just wind up taking. Do we just get taken out of something? Oh no, there goes AMC. We put a big position on for AMC, breaking back through 13 there on that move. So let's see if AMC goes, Neil.
Yeah, let's get going on AMC. It made a great bottom. It's now a double bottom on AMC. Like, if the market breaks out, like this is exactly the kind of name that you already know it can go. But it's like I got another short.
Though.
I waited all morning for this one. I said, be patient. I only like Oxy if it gets to that $60 to $65 channel from yesterday's flush. And I just got into Oxy. I was sitting at 60.20, sort of in the middle of the range here. This high is a little closer to 75. So instead of shorting 60 in front of 60.50, I did go with 20 just to give it the extra 20 cents. Call that slippage or whatever you want to. But on this name, 20 cents doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. You just put in a $2 bounce with Oxy heading to the upside with the rest of this market. Yet again, finding myself in another short trade.
Facebook, $5 now in the money? Holy jeez. Okay, Peloton right now starting to go as well. We're going to wait for AMC. Just hopefully it can go. Hopefully we don't test 12 again on that one. But here comes Peloton coming back in. So let's start to take some bids out here on that reload. I mean, I'm still thinking shorter on this name. But again, that was a good reload up there. We can start to scalp a little bit now, as this market starts to move around. I think that's probably going to be a good play. AMC, so there's the break. We took some out there as it went up to 20, but then it kind of stopped right now. So no idea where it's going to go from here. We like that 13.10 break as it took out the 50 period. I thought it was starting to go back to that upside. Still has upside moves, but again, we take that 6-7 pennies. So if it breaks back down below 13 right here, then we'll get out. I mean, I could hold it all the way to 1280, but let's not do that. I mean, honestly, on earnings, this could go anywhere, and I just don't really trust it right now for that play. So we could definitely watch out for that. Clover's come back in, Disney's come back in. Ford, Facebook, already made that beautiful high up to 203. This is $5 in the money. Unbelievable here for Facebook. I think we should take that out. I keep saying that and don't do it, which is good because it's working out. But Facebook right now long seems to be a great call. Too bad we missed that softie, but nothing we can do. Don't cry over spilled milk right now. Some good outs on Peloton as we came back into the 20s. But again, looking at this 12 could hold. That's where the 50 period is. So if we're able to empty some of that out at 12 bucks, I think that's what we want to do. That's that, man. AMD's back up to 90, someone just wrote. Yeah, look, I mean, I like this trade. It's just, I feel like it has to come back in. The market's just ripping so much right now, guys.
Yeah, it's like I keep looking at NVIDIA, thinking it'll pull back and give you some prices that make sense for the longs that we liked in the morning, but they might not come back, and that's just the reality here. I'm looking for anything that is giving you an entry point in that space. When I go back over to Micron, yeah, it's still below that 70 area and consolidating. This is about the only one that makes some sense because if we break out from this consolidation at that $70 range, there's room into 71.5, 72. It's got to move first. I didn't get the first fill out on Occidental, but it looks like it is trying to pull back in as we go to Brennan at the big screen for the small cap recap.
It's going to be the small/mid cap recap today because, hey, there wasn't much to do. In small cap land today, EVAX mentioned just before the open, there was the high of day, and then if it got above that, there was a ton of room all the way up to 450. I mentioned just before the open, it was showing all the signs that you want to see. It was very, very weak, heavy selling on the tape. Just continues to the downside. So we're all the way down to 260 right now. Could have got 330, 340 at the top end. So a nice move back down for EVAX. Yeah, I revisited Rivian on the initial move higher into some of the levels that we saw yesterday. So 24.5, 25 would have been my next revisit, but that gets back down to 23 for Rivian, now pushing day lows. My take on Peloton today, 1150 and then 1250. The problem if you wait, and I was just saying this to myself, the problem if you wait for a range to break, got to give it all the way back to the other side before you're wrong. So $1 of a range so far on Peloton, guys. But yeah, trying to hold that 1250. Back over to you.
Here we come.
Well, the roller coaster ride continues. Just took the first 40 cents. 40 pennies on Occidental here as it tries to roll back over. I got bids down around view up, some in front of that 59.25, some on the back end of that trade. I don't necessarily think that we're going to break the lows at any point on Oxy. It feels like there's enough strong enough move here that would be a good fill if we're able to get it all the way down to 58. So we got to our price. We took the entry point to the short side. It is starting to work out. Patience, patience, patience. It's like everything that we're patient on today has been good, and everything that we're sort of like a little too hasty to want to jump into it too quick or take it out too quick, those are the things that are not going to work for you. So if there's I'll hit that key for you. It's not to say that you hold on to anything forever, but sometimes diamond hands doesn't just mean holding on to it for a bigger winner. It can mean waiting for your price and saying, this is it, shove the chips, and then try to hang on there and just wait for the river to come, I suppose. That's the to continue the analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Wait for the river. Yeah. AMC just getting near that $13 again, man. I mean, it did rip up there when we went to Brendan, so we were able to get some out on the high side there. So again, it's like a 13. What are we long? 12s or yeah? So we're long 12s here. So the best we were able to get here was 7-8 cents, and it looks like now it's going to break through 13, and we could just get out. I don't want to hold this name down to the downside. I think it's a better long, obviously, in spots that it showed you longs like 12.80, things like that. That was just a break to see if we can go. We didn't even get to VWAP, so yeah, not a great momentum break there at all for AMC, but we tried it down there to 13.10. So that was a good go for us there. It just didn't get going. And we got to sit here and try some of these trades, right? I mean, it's just like Peloton came back upside. So here comes AMC. It's trying to hold 13, but again, a little bit of a breakdown on this name, and we're going to be gone out of AMC. Let's just cancel our offers, make sure we get out of everything if it breaks. But right there, hopefully it can go back up to the upside. We're waiting for a 13 break. So that's going to be that name. I was trying to get longer on Facebook. Where's my bids? 20 and a quarter. So if that can come back in right there it's literally at that 50 period. The NASDAQ could break lower, which would be disastrous for us. So we'll wait. 199.50, something like that is what we're going to wait for if it does break. Something in here where we were in trouble before, maybe a 199 if it gets ultimately all the way down. But we are looking for a reload now in Facebook. So that's what's going on there, man. AMD still doing nothing, bouncing around some of those levels. Ford back to 61, but here's AMD. I mean, this is what I mean. It's choppy. There's not much happening here. Up and down, up and down. So you could have reloaded there at 89.20. That's good on the 50 period. We're waiting to do that on Facebook. Looks like we should have done that on AMD because now we'd be 40 cents in the money on that name. So this is probably a name that's going to have to be traded on any dips because it's strong. AMD today up 4%. What is it? NVIDIA's up 6%.
So strong.
There's lots of strong names here today. We just got to find the right ones. Clover's not strong. Clover's about to break. Oh, Clover did break. There it is. So Clover breaks 50. We got out there at 49. That's probably now going to be the bottom. But we'll hold a little bit of Clover. But that name obviously didn't work. We tried that one as well off this barcode. Comes back in, breaks 50, and then that's where we got out right there. That was yesterday's high. What can we do? Clover to the downside. That name didn't work either, guys.
And CYN, I'm not ignoring it, guys. It wasn't at a level yet that was exciting to me. We talked about this maybe throughout the last couple of weeks here, but it was 550 where it really turned around. This 550 to 650 channel, those are the big levels. I think until it gets there, it's kind of hard to draw a line in the sand. I know $5 is checking up, but just want to keep an eye out for this. It is in the midst of a break. These are levels that I shorted before, but when you come back, if you don't get it like yesterday when it pulled back from here, when we tested another time for like the third day, that you don't want to be short off the level like that. It's gone and you're looking to the next level to the upside. Should I have had the breakout? Fine. But there's so many other names to trade that you've got to go where the action is going to be. And I've already traded like almost 10 names today. So CYN did get missed out because you just have to pick and choose where your opportunities are going to end up lying. To come back over to Netflix, it's getting harder to hold on to these longs. Well, can I see it's constantly bouncing off this support on UVXY, and it's this 18 level. You got wick bottoms. It's trying to break back to the upside. The NASDAQ is now resisting yesterday's morning top like 3 times, maybe even 4 times here. So it is getting tricky to hold on to some of these longs, especially Netflix, where I could be getting back out at 178 and just bagging the $4 or $5 here. I'm still trying to hold, but if I see us make another press on UVXY, I'll have to take this long off because it might not be working. So far, Oxy's okay to the short side, Upstart's still in the money. Peloton is testing higher, however, as it's right back up to these 1260s. If you look at this, the shorts below 11, no good, but the 50s and the 1250s have been okay. They've been able to get the scalps back in, but it's still a wedge being formed. If we break here, it's do nothing until we get into this channel around 1350 to 14. It hasn't broken yet. I'm just saying if it does. Now, of course, as I say that, as I'm like, oh yeah, worst case scenario, it breaks back out, you get out and hunt for a higher price, and then it starts to try to fall back in.
Always worst case scenarios out there. Okay, AMC, not really worst case scenario, but it did break 13, so we're out of that one. And we'll just go bearish there because that move was bearish as it didn't take VWAP and now back to the downside. But I still hold out hope for AMC. We just need to get a little lower bids coming in on that one. So we've averaged into Facebook here. We said we might want to take AMD on an average, But here comes Facebook. Wow, screaming back down in. We looked at that gift horse for sure in the mouth, in the face there, up to 203 when it ripped, and we had $6 in the money, or $5.50 in the money. Now our average price is right here, $199.30. As it's coming back in, so is Softy. So everything's coming in now. The Nasdaq's trying to test some of these lows. So FB on watch right now for me. Now we're breaking too low on some of these names. Facebook definitely was rocking today, but now it wants to test this 199.50. This is a good little reload level, but again, man, the Nasdaq is trying to break. So you don't want to be too reloaded into these positions, but there we are. We'll take another spot right here. This is kind of what we wanted, but it's tough because there's really no outs. I mean, maybe 199, but we got wicked out there as well, which was a good thing because we were able to reload it. But at the same time, this is very, very slippery here on the Nasdaq. A lot of these names could crack lower now, and then we're just going to give back like everything we made yesterday because this market doesn't want to hold. So right now, Facebook 199 coming into play again. That's probably going to be an out for me if it does tick down there, guys.
So quickly, D-Money, great question. We talk about VIX and UVXY all the time. So it's just essentially volatility, like the fear index. So when we start rising in UVXY or VXX, the market has a tendency to fall. So if you are sitting in longs, when you start breaking of consolidations in UVXY, and I'll just show you right here, like when we start breaking the consolidation up, well, Netflix just went from $4 in the money to $2.50 in the money. That starts to come back down. The market starts to pull back in, and it works both ways. When we got to those highs on UVXY, you started to make some of those bottoms in the market. And when that reversed, the market started to rise a little bit. So it's an inverse relationship between volatility and the overall direction of the market momentum-wise. Brendo?
All right, 10:30, guys, coming up in 15 minutes. Had a great discussion last week about the cybersecurity space with Ian Patterson, CEO and Director of Plurilock. He's back again to give us a more of an insight on the company itself. So we'll talk a little bit more on Plurilock itself today, coming up in about 15 minutes. Let's get a check on how things in Europe are shaping up. Miss V, there's an hour left. What's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are back to positive territory. Nicotine products company Match trading in Sweden up more than 25% after it received a takeover approach from tobacco giant Philip Morris.
Yeah, choppy session here, guys. Miss V and I were just discussing, Janet Yellen is testifying today in Washington. So, yeah, the market kind of back and forth at this point.
Yeah.
You say Janet Yellen?
Testify. All right, let's just look what we're doing right now. Facebook, so we've averaged into this one. It went all the way up. We did take a piece out at 200 there because it was a winning trade once we got the 200 print. I don't know if it went to $200.71 there. That seems like a little bit of a high move. I should have got out if it did. No, it did not, so it didn't get up there. But we will take some out if it comes back to some of these highs, like 201 and change would be great. I mean, that's $1 from here, but we did average in down there at that bottom. So we'll see. Now, the bottom, temporary bottom, as it's screaming back into that level right now. Also, Microsoft came to a level that we liked, and we didn't do it because we went over to Facebook. But again, if we can get a 270 quarter for Microsoft, we could try that against this 269 bottom here. And let's just see if the market does rally back up. Maybe when Yellen is done, I see her right there. When she's done, maybe this market rallies back up. So let's see. It's kind of like the Q&A period there with JPOW. So let's see if that can come in. We are trying to get some more Microsoft. Apple as well, maybe. Apple's already broke. So Apple's already near some nice levels, but it's already been down to 154. So I'd rather see that a little bit lower. Other than that, man, Peloton, I'm light on this name. But I got to go over here and start to look at it because we're trying to look at 13 again. So this could be something worth a short here, but I don't know why it's up here right now. So Peloton taking a little jog to the north side now, and we may short that one into 13, and if it breaks 13, then we're gone. So let's take a short around here, 70 or so on Peloton, and then give it up to 13 and see what happens.
Yeah, it's like the market is pulling back, and it's just sort of sitting at those highs. I'm looking for that chance to like turn off of that 70 in Peloton. I'm sitting there looking for the punch, but if it doesn't want to go, it doesn't want to go. NVIDIA is starting to come back as well, so that's worth. We're just showing the relationship sort of, we talked about UVXY and whatnot, and as the market starts to pull back here, I'm looking for that next resistance point, which could be at 1850, and then maybe you hold out a 1770, something like that at the open on UVXY. I'm still in Netflix because somehow it's managing to hold above 177. See these wick bottoms, it keeps putting in the wick, and then can't go, and we'll see what happens. But it's above that support level. I did scalp some of it out a couple of times, 78s and then 75s on both those dips. I still think we can get 180s, but the market will have to take out the high of the day. It simply cannot happen without it. And there goes Peloton towards that 13. So there's that nice on cent. 14 is the next level there. Like if it breaks 13s, you are talking about waiting out $1, I think.
Yeah, let's wait. I mean, we already have our price target there for Peloton. That is that 13. So we get the fill now, and we just took the fill at 70. So let's just wait to see where it goes. Now with Piton here, that's our fill right there at 70. So it's not too far against us here. Average price 61. So let's see if Peloton wants to fade back in a little bit here and then give us that bid. But other than that, man, we got to wait now. So it's 40 cents worth of risk to that upside of 13. So let's see if we get back down in here into the 30s on PTON. Facebook makes a nice little run higher there, and we didn't get out, so we'll put an offer there. Now look at the NASDAQ, though, starting to come back in here. NASDAQ just tried to take out the 50 period and failed, so that's not good for any of these longs. So we definitely got to go over and see what's happening with some of these. It's funny that the only thing that's busting longer right now is Peloton. So,
of all things.
Yeah, let's go over to Brendan and see what he's talking about.
Yet another earnings name, guys. We didn't mention this, but in the pre-market this morning, but Plug Power reported aftermarket yesterday, so they're trying to bounce as well. Trying to get back to that initial high, 1680, which came into play yesterday as well. Decent volume, though, for Plug still.
Yeah, another name that reported, and there's so many of these that you could have been looking at. And I look at a firm here, and it's down 11%, and that might have been low-hanging fruit. But didn't get it. I tried the short, it stopped out, and then it made that huge run past $20. And there's just no bounce in this one just yet. I think that's because they still have yet to report. So people not exactly eager to buy that one up. That CYN that we're paying attention to, I guess, waiting around for like $5 or $6, which I thought, $6 on this name. Probably not going to happen. It still has a chance to bounce off VWAP here and make a continued run to the upside. So it's still on the radar, just obviously not imminently looking for any shorts in that. Tesla, it'll look like a bad out because it was not waiting for those teens. It is starting to get back down towards that 800 range. Now, it did make the bottom closer to the pre-market lows, down around that 793 to 95 area. That's what you want to hold out for. And if you're looking at names, if we start to really head southbound, like if this turns out from like a false break into retesting the lows in the market, one to remember, NEO at $13. Big level on NEO. This is still the March low on NEO at 13, which has yet to be tested, let alone breaking yesterday's bottom at 13.30. We get down to that price, that's just one of those longs. You take a shot in front of it if 13 goes, maybe like 12.90 or 12.95, something along those lines. I'll be long NEO if we get down to that price. It's not the same thing as Intel at 43, but those are two trades that I'm definitely going to be making if we end up turning much further down.
Yeah, okay. We just averaged into Ford here. Like, how many averages in are we going to have? I mean, the last one we took was 55. Then we just took a 54. And I'm just using it off this 49. I mean, if we break through 50, then we're gone on this one. But again, if the market can rally, I like Ford. I think they've been beat down a lot here. You're at some nice levels. I mean, on the 20-minute, obviously there's a lot lower down here. I'm not, the longs haven't worked in some of these names today. So it's not really worth like averaging into this. I mean, some of the tech names have been good to average into. But Ford really hasn't gone today, as you could see. But on the daily chart, I mean, this is why I like it. It's right down into these levels, 1270, 1250. Why I like it today is because of 1350, but I think for a longer term spot, Ford's been beat down with a lot of these EV names coming back in, right? And there's supply chain issues as well. There's chip shortages. So yeah, Ford, this is not talking about this trade. This trade's just off 1350, but again, coming back in here, Ford today. I like the break. And again, we're fine today. What's really messed us up is some of these high breaks. We had the 200 break early on Facebook that didn't work out. Still fine. Our damage on Facebook is minimal, but this sucks because we had the 1380. It took it out in the pre-market right there off the open, which is basically the pre-market, because it had that acceleration into that level, took us down. If we had just waited again for these levels, but it's like if and buts, right? I mean, like we don't know that that's going to happen. The market could have taken off today and stayed at the high side, and this probably would have worked. But right now, if it breaks down through 1350, we're gone. We tried it out here on Ford. It doesn't look like it wants to go. Not too much focus on this name, but we'll still give it a go, man. If it can get back up here. I want to wait for VWAP. I don't even want the 60. I want up here. So we're going to try to give this a go. Like I'm a little bit beat down on this name. Like it's 10 cents down. I didn't think it would happen. It's been doing nothing all day, just like Clover. I mean, they're not huge hits. It's just they suck. Like Clover was up today. We thought this idea would work. And look, straight to the downside. All you had to do was flip your side up and short. And that's what sucks about it because the shorts were good today on some of these beatdown names. But Facebook coming in a little bit more here. I have another buy, but it's a lot lower than this on Facebook. If it breaks through 199, we got to get a little bit out here on FB.
So the shorts were good on a lot of these names, but they weren't easy. Like there was nothing easy about some of these shorts. Like you had to sustain on Upstart. You had to sustain through a halt to the upside, getting stopped out, and now it's starting to rally back into those lows. Peloton is still a struggle. Even if you shorted AMC, like you probably got blown out, but AMC is about to take out 1280. So ultimately, it's going to end up working out for the shorts. It looks like to me, but these were not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and we're starting to really fall back. And we just made another leg higher. So we're going to be testing that high on the UVXY as I double check it there.
Everything's
so AMC is probably going to stop me out any second now. It kind of makes me, I'm not going to pull this bid on Upstart. A stock that goes down 55%, if it finds a bid in front of an even number, I'm just going to go ahead and respect that. So I understand it could fall further, but I'm going to take the profit every single chance I get in that particular situation. Ooh. There's my stop out on AMC. We're through that 1280. I'm not looking to reverse this to the short side. I feel like if that comes in, then Rivian should probably come in as well, and I definitely got enough of that, that'll be that play that we dig into. I'm not sure why I didn't get another fill in Oxy here. It's very slowly rolling over, so a little bit of relative strength here in Occidental. It got to the price. I've scalped once out. Maybe I should be a little more aggressive taking the 60-cent win instead of looking for over $1. I can't really ignore the fact that it's showing some signs of strength in this pullback here, guys. So might get a little bit more aggressive, taking some more Oxy out, banking profits where they do lie. So you got to take them when they're there. I mean, if you get a chance to get to that end zone, like you don't want to be sitting there, like lollygagging or dancing around, man. Like celebrate after you score and make sure you score.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you get that goal
Don't
first
drop
and
the ball
foremost
right
there. Okay, so Facebook, we tested the 199 there. Again, not holding. I think we got to wait, I guess, now for lower. The market's breaking. The market's right back at these lows. So we're going to test Microsoft. We finally got into that bid there. This name obviously stronger than the market, so I like this on any rally back. I think this is the strongest name that we could possibly hold for a backside move right now, other than maybe AMD. We can go over to that as well. We're still short Peloton. Of course, that short doesn't seem to be wanting to work right now. I still have a small spot on Disney, and that just collapsed down too. So that name also falling back in. But yeah, Blue Apron, someone wrote there as well. AMC, down we go. Yeah, where is AMC? Wow, back down to 1270. Okay. Man, I mean, I'm looking for longs, and this just is not triggering into anything. So maybe down here, man, 1250. We tried AMC. Look, we had AMC early, was really good, but look what's happened now. Fading back in. AMC trying to go red, it looks like here today. That's not good. Facebook and Microsoft both not holding lows either. So watch out for some of these coming through. 269.60. We're about to get into Microsoft as this is fading in. The market definitely coming back here. Not a good day to be dug into some longs, it looks like here, Brendo. But we have market watching right now, or what's this second segment called? Sector watch. Okay. For that, and it looks pretty good. So I'm interested in what sectors are popping off here. So let's go over to Brendan as we massage some of these longs.
Quickly changing board to show you here, guys. We are going from mostly green back to about half and half here. We are still to the upside, 0.5% on the S&P 500. I was just noticing over here, consumer staples, if you remember yesterday, was one of the only groups that was strong in an otherwise very, very weak market. But back to the downside here for most of these. There's Altria, 7% to the downside on that match Philip Morris story from over in Europe. So Mo with a big move today. Real estate stocks under pressure as well for the most part. The green ones you see, there was some M&A activity in the group. Oil back to the upside, energy stocks getting a boost. Some of the material stocks and communication stocks back in positive territory. Resource prices across the board for the most part back higher as we speak. Travel names are higher as well. Again, Norwegian, the one that reported, but most of the other cruise lines back in positive territory. Here's the tech group. All of it basically positive on the day. Some weakness in software stocks. You avoid those, you're in good shape. UAL, love there, as I mentioned, travel stocks getting a boost, but the industrial sector, the one kind of leading the way back to the downside here, along with banks. Top left corner over there, the entire banking group red on the day, if you can believe that. Now under, guys, 0.5% for the S&P. Back over to you.
It's like, I was just having this conversation with Sean there. As we look at that board, it's deceiving because we just pull back heavily and you have a mostly green board. If you had to put down 10 grand on 5 years from now, which company without somebody buying them is going to still be viable between Peloton and AMC?
Yeah.
I dare anybody to say Peloton out of those two. I dare you. You can't make that argument in my opinion, but yet the strength is in Peloton, not AMC. That just broke that 1280 and has been falling. I just got some out of Peloton here at 40s because it consolidated them before and still have bids all the way down to 11. But this is that last ditch. It's just been grinding higher and higher. And it may eventually work out, but everything about it was difficult. I did get out of all of my upstart there in front of 3150 so we can bring that register to a backflip. Nothing easy about it, man. It was just nothing easy about the shorts today, even though they are coming back in. To the downside, and I said that I was about to type AMD, but AMC, I just mentioned, okay, I can think that to be true, but I just got stopped out, and there it is falling through that 1280 into 1250, which, if you remember, these are the lows from yesterday as AMC is testing 1250. This is it. Like, you got to 1242, I think it was. That is your last line in the sand. It just bounced off 1250. If we cannot hold 1240, I'm out of this one. For good, well, I shouldn't say that. For now, I should say. If we can reclaim 1250, that'd be a good level. But that 1240 from yesterday, hold through 1280 down to here? Nah, not really. I'm just going to get out and then re-engage at the bottom.
Yeah, we're getting saved a little bit here by Softy for our longs. We went over to a stronger name there, averaged in. I mean, we got that bid down there at 269.50. So now that we're ripping upside, this is a good trade for us, man. It's starting to go. Really saving the day for me here is going to be Microsoft on this bid down there. We keep trading Microsoft the best. Like, we got to remember that. We called that 269 bottom right there when it ripped up to 273. So yeah, here it comes back in again. There's another out. Like, we just took a 47 out on that play. So that's like another 70, 80 cents. So yeah, Microsoft seems to be pretty strong. Meanwhile, we're dug in a little bit to Facebook here. As that average there, we got a little bit out. Take some more down here. Watching out for that 196.50 bottom. But hey, if this market doesn't rally back to the upside now, then it's like we just said, it's game over. So there it is, the NASDAQ testing these bottoms, tried to go again and then missed it again. So, this sucks. Like, good thing we're getting some out, see? And right there, now Microsoft right back down to flat, where we could reload one more time, which will look like we'll do. But I mean, there's really no relief in this rally right now. Came to the upside, then just got hit, and now it just keeps coming down. They don't want to support any of these bids. So why are we doing it, right? So sometimes you got to switch up your game a little bit, and I think that's what we got to do now. Trade the strong name. That's Microsoft. Hopefully it'll start to float back up to the upside, but trying to catch some of these falling swords here, not a great idea in this market. It doesn't want to give it up today to the longs. It's just faded every single move upside. So, hey, let's go to our guest of the day with Brendan.
All right, thanks, guys. As mentioned, had a great discussion last week on the cybersecurity space with Plurilock, and Ian Patterson, CEO and director of the company, back with us today to give us a little more insight on the company itself and learn a little bit more about this not only interesting sector, but an interesting company. It's focused on behavioral, biometric, environmental, and contextual technology in the cybersecurity space. It's great to have Ian Patterson back with us. PLUR, guys, on the Venture Exchange for Plurilock. Hey, Ian, good to see you as always. Let's get a brief intro here to start things off, and then we'll jump into the company a little bit more in depth. But tell us a little bit more about Plurilock.
Brendan, it's great to be back. Plurilock is a Canadian cybersecurity company. We're actually organized into two divisions. So we have a technology division where we build and sell our patented artificial intelligence software that you alluded to. And so we have a unique capability of being able to identify people based on their unique and distinctive behavior. So on a computer, this is the speed, rhythm, and cadence of how you type on the keyboard, how you move the mouse. And then separately, we also have a solutions division, and that's where we're acquiring great, profitable cybersecurity companies with tremendous customers. That's building up our distribution arm. And the ultimate value here is the cross-selling between the technology and the solutions division, where we take that high-margin software that we have, and then we cross-sell that into the distribution that we've acquired. So, big picture, that's sort of where we're operating. I usually like to describe the proprietary products that we have with an analogy of a house. If you think about a typical house, most people have a front door. Most people have a good solid deadbolt on that front door. But the question is, what happens if you just break a window and you go around that door? Well, Plurilock's products are like having a motion sensor inside your house that can identify if it's the right person based on their movement who are actually inside that house. So that's the analogy. Of course, we don't sell house products, we sell software products, but that's usually the way that I like to describe what we do.
And it's a great analogy in the sense that, everyone has their own personal computer typically, or their own personal device of whatever the sort, and this is a way to attach that on a security basis to its proper owner, which is a great concept. Let's talk about the space. We'll zoom out a little bit here and talk about the space itself. This is an ever-growing issue, as we said a little bit last week. A global issue that U.S. officials were saying that is here to stay, in a sense that we all have to kind of get used to it and come up with ways to not only deal with it on a daily basis, but understand it a little bit better. Give us your take here on how large we're talking of a sector currently, and where you see this going over the next, say 3 to 5 years.
Well, I would agree it's large. In 2022, the estimate is that the cybersecurity industry as a whole, you're looking at around a $300 billion market. But the really staggering number here is that on a 5-year basis, cumulatively, you're looking at about $1.75 trillion of spend. So it's just a massive opportunity. Plurilock's focus specifically within that, we're on the technology division side, we are very focused on identity of people. And so this plays into authentication. It plays into being able to recognize that it's the right person on the device. And also I'd say that geographically, while we have had some significant customer wins overseas, we're predominantly focused on North America. So any way you slice it, very, very large opportunity.
When it comes to, I want to touch on the technology side here a little bit again, Ian. When it comes to where we're headed, in that category specifically, does this become, as you mentioned, something that on a daily basis, any device will have the ability to identify its rightful owner and therefore, be more secure, hopefully, down the road?
Well, I think that when you're talking about authentication, there's a few key trends that are occurring. I think the first thing is that everybody is familiar with passwords. Hasn't really changed since the 1960s, 1970s, right? You prove your identity to a computer based on typing in a secret, which hopefully is unique. But I think a lot of people use common passwords. So the whole paradigm of proving your identity to a computer really hasn't changed very much in the last 40, 50 years. Now, we have seen some fairly sizable announcements coming out. A number of companies just in the last couple of weeks have announced that they're moving to a new passwordless experience, Microsoft being one of them. So I think that there is starting to be a bit of a shift. But from our perspective, from Plurilock's perspective, we see that the whole concept of authentication is really tied to a specific point in time. So what do I mean by that? Well, think about when you're going into your office, typical workday, you might sit down at your device and log in at 9 o'clock in the morning. The question then is, are you still the right person 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? And regardless of whether you're using a password or maybe getting a text message to your phone and just looking around, reaching for my phone, these are still point-in-time authentication. Now, fundamentally, our thesis at Plurilock is that authentication should be happening continuously. And so that's why with our technology, we're able to identify who you are every 3 to 5 seconds continuously throughout the workday. So in comparison to doing 1, 2, maybe 3 identity checks With a traditional system, with Plurilock, we're really looking at hundreds of identity checks throughout the day. And so that's just one of the ways that we see that there's going to be sizable trends which will affect change in this industry.
Topic in the sense that, everyone's dealing with it on a continuous basis as more and more industries, more and more jobs get moved online and get moved to the remote aspect as well. More to come for sure in an ever-growing sector and ever-growing space. CEO and Director of Plurilock, Ian Patterson, always a pleasure. Thanks again.
Thanks, Brandon.
Have a good day. PLUR, guys, on the Venture Exchange.
There you go, Brandon. We were just actually talking about that one the other day.
I like that front door thing. That was, it really opens your eyes.
I love analogies. I mean, now it's just an easy way to relate to something and get a concept going. But relating to this market means accepting downside. And that's just...
Yeah.
Like Peloton, one of the things that you would have thought would be weak is actually holding to the upside. I can try to be happy about Oxy, but because I did just get another leg out of that one. But look at Netflix. We had it twice and did not take it out when it got to that 180. Really looked at that upper channel thinking it was going to get to 83. It comes all the way to the bottom, takes out the lows. The VIX just tried to turn, UVXY just tried to turn at 19. So I did try to get in at the low again on that turn, and it just immediately took out 173. So this is once again turning into a bit of a turnaround, and this is what I mean by that turnaround. If you look at what happened this morning, it was like we got to the yesterday's highs on the NASDAQ right at the open and then just wick topped it twice. And it's just been falling right back in. So I got two shorts on here, and one of them is barely even working, that Peloton. Bit of a bounce here in the market. Like maybe it's trying to make a bit of a turn, but wow, what a rug pull they pulled.
Yeah, we're going to get out of a little bit here. We went long Apple, so new position alert on a name that we continue to do well on, AAPL. We're long right now, 154.20 off that bottom right there. So nice little move up. And we're just, just like Neil said, man, like we don't need to see profit and then have them dump again on us. So there we go. We'll take out half of this play for 30 cents, and hopefully it can get back up to the upside right now. Apple, we're long right now, 154.27. So it's 30 cents now, but hopefully a little bit more than that as we can try to get back to VWAP here. 155 would be pretty sweet if we can get it. So Apple trying to go. We didn't really average into Facebook. I mean, it's been dropping down. We're out of our Microsoft. Small hit for Softy, man. I mean, there it is, averaged in right there. It took down 269.50 and we got out. So Microsoft's an out of that trade right there. So real no damage. We actually did okay on Microsoft, but still small hit on that one. But yeah, Facebook, man, oh darn, we didn't get enough out when it ripped up to the top. We had a small piece left, but now we're averaging in against that bottom, 195 from yesterday, guys, right there, 195.50. That breaks, we're gone. NASDAQ looks like it wants to even turn red today, which is surprising, but it's Money Talks with Brendan.
Brought to you by the Small Exchange, guys. Check out smallexchange.com. They're making it so easy to get into futures trading. Smaller, simpler contracts to understand. No PDT, less capital required. You can use a QR code at the bottom there. Make sure you sign up for their daily info. Here we go. Quick look at the currency exchange, or currency board today. 0.14 for the US dollar, back to the upside. CPI tomorrow morning. Remember, we'll get an inflation reading tomorrow morning. So pretty quiet here, top to bottom, really, right across the entire thing. Wanted to mention cryptos were higher than this initially. 2.8 still for Ethereum here, 23.50. Bouncing off those lows once again over there on a daily chart for Ethereum. Bitcoin, however, not holding up anywhere near as well today. So we're right back to this 2,300 area for Ethereum, but just now trying to go red, in fact. But I mean, that correlation we've talked about in the past, guys, with the equity market seems to be back for not only Bitcoin, but Ethereum as well. Back over to you.
Oh, show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, you can see that board there. A few interesting earnings to look at as we have only a couple of minutes to go. Oxy right smack dab in the middle. I'm actually in a short right now. Coinbase, Roblox, goodness gracious, buckle up. You've seen what can happen to some of these names. SoFi as well goes into that bucket. Rocket companies. These are all ones that can have that 10, 20, maybe even more % types of moves. Matterport and Five are also on there. But wow, just CoinDesk is going to be crazy. We've already seen what's happening to fintech, so SoFi should be on your radars. By the way, MICT, this is It's an all-stock merger deal. I've been sort of waiting for it to get to $1. It just wick topped at $1. If you don't know what comes next after wick top at $1, you haven't been watching this show.
Yeah.
It's shorted off that high.
Yeah, good call there. Good shout out Dominic there on the super chat as well. Thanks for that MICT. Look, it's been like a really roller coaster kind of day. Well, AMD's all the way back down to 87 right now. So wow, yeah, there's AMD. Wow, off that bottom. This might be worth it as well. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, I hope you're having a great morning and don't go anywhere because whole trading day is ahead, and join Prad and me right after to continue trading. Also, please double check and make sure you like this video, guys, and happy National Shrimp Day.
Oh, hell yeah. That's like one of my daughter's new favorites, man. She's loving shrimp right now. So I like that. I like the coconut shrimp. I like the shrimp cocktail. In Miami, it was $22 or something for like 4 shrimp and a shrimp cocktail. But hey, they were good shrimp, well worth it. You pay for the pool, my friend, there. But
someone's got to.
Yeah, nice little day. I like that. I'm a big shrimp fan. Scallops, you know, there's obviously higher levels of seafood, but I'm down with shrimp.
I'm glad you said it. I do love shrimp, but when it comes to seafood, man, like I'm a crab over lobster person. I'm a scallops over shrimp if I have to make that choice. But
feeling that.
You can't go wrong. Oysters are fantastic as well. I don't think we'll be getting any of that with our salad today. Although
we will not.
If they wanted to throw that down in the salad, I'd be pretty happy to see it. I did just get into that MICT just now. I almost said MIT. I don't even know why. I want more in the mid-90s if I can get it, but I've been unable to. If it consolidates here, looking for a bit of a pullback, still battling Peloton. It tries to pull back. It cannot break VWAP. Like in this market, that's what's going to hold up strength. But we are through 4,000 on the ES. We're back below 12.3 on the NASDAQ. So, yeah, for now, it looks like the shorts are just continuing to win here, even though I found nothing at the top. With the exception of Oxy, which is actually relatively strong today. I found nothing at the top, not even a firm. I lost money on a firm and Rivian today short, which is pretty struggling as far as I'm concerned. And then my best stock was a long on Tesla.
Yeah.
And where's Tesla right now? Tesla is at 790. Like, I didn't find any shorts on Tesla today. So it is what it is. It's one of those days.
It's funny because, yeah, like this was so strong on the way up and so weak on the way down when we're talking here about Facebook. It just made... Did it go to 195.50? I mean, that's what I was sort of sitting. I thought I was going to get some more longs in there, but I guess I did not. Right now, yeah, Facebook continues to make that move down. Very, very strong move down. AMD, like, again, we picked that bottom right now. Let's see if that wants to work out. We'd have all these bottoms staring us in the face, man. 86.75 right there on AMD. Right now, the only thing that's really crushing is this play, Facebook. Like, we went long into Facebook. Meanwhile, we went long into Microsoft, took that out. Like, we got a nice little 60-cent win there, on Apple. And then we have a nice little 20 cents in the money right now on AMD. But again, very, very surprising the way some of these are moving. Like, there we go. We'll take a 48 maybe on AMD if we can get it. But big size battling right now on AMD Advanced Micro Devices, kicking around right now. Peloton, 50 cents in the money. At least that one's working to the short side here. But yeah, it's been a crazy, crazy morning, man. Big moves up. Now the big move comes down. Who knows what's going to bring our way here in the next couple hours?
Exactly, but we know where you're going. Right now, we're taking you to Trader Pratt and Miss V. I see the green is on. Can the market hold green? That's the question. Go get them.
Welcome to Market Movers. I'm your host, Trader Pratt, and this is the beautiful Miss V.
Thank you, Brad. And guys, indeed, both Brad and I are in green. Coincidence? I don't think so. And as usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, and please like this video, guys. I hope you're having a green, profitable day. Markets gave up some gains, but still in a positive